Good evening, Dude79 here, just doing a quick mic check. Yes, Brian, we will be discussing All of Us Are Dead. I assure you, we'll be talking about it. Just doing a quick mic check to check the audio levels.
Hola.
We'll be live in just a moment. Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, what's going on, dude?
I need a nap.
He needs a nap. Why do you need a nap, Tones?
I am fucking tired. This time change a week and a half ago has fucked me.
You're tired, huh? Well, hey, you know what? It sounds like they're looking at the possibility, it's a bill in process to get rid of the time change.
Yes, Senate was cool with it, and then the House it stalled. So,
the House stalled it out?
Yeah, because the West Coast is a bunch of bitches.
Go figure. What's going on with you though, man? Other than that, how's everything going?
Let me see. Any crises recently? Nope. So far, so good. Nothing really special to get into so much. But yeah,
I'm glad that you haven't had any crises.
You had a crisis on the other hand. It was your turn.
Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, seriously. Absolute chaos this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Let me preface this by telling just a little story about we were supposed to go to a wrestling match. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to watch Rohit wrestle, and came downstairs, and there was water in the basement, and our sump pump had failed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, shit. So, one in, got a new sump pump, put the new one in. Everything's been working fine since.
Mm-hmm.
And we also bought another sump pump as a backup in case this one went down.
Right. Always good to do.
So, and at that time, once that first one failed, my wife was like, you know what, I'm going to put down a sensor by the sump pump.
Always good to do.
So in case there's ever water, it'll go off.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, I'm like, that's fine, but it's never going to happen again because I'm a guy and I know everything, we're fine. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so Friday morning at about 3 o'clock, my wife wakes me up and she's like, there's an alarm going off. And I'm like, well, I can't, how the fuck, what? Because, the door's shut and the fan's on. I'm like, how the fuck can you hear? Like, I don't hear shit. I hear a fan, and I'm trying to sleep.
Right.
And she goes out, and she opens the door, and then I start to hear the beeping. I'm like, yeah, there is something going off. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, no. So I go down there, and there is some water around the sump pump, but the sump pump is running. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's just burned out because it's not pumping any water. No water's leaving. But the water's, it's obviously overflowing, but the pump is running. So I'm like, oh, well, fuck it. And I was like, we know how to change a sump pump now because of what happened 2 years ago. Boom, 5 minutes. Sump pump out, new one in, plugged in, ready to go. And we're high-fiving. I'm like, yeah, that was easy. And we're just sitting there watching like, that fucking water ain't going down. And it's running. And so I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And so I take the pipe off, and I check the check valve, and nothing's pouring back in. But I put my finger up in the check valve to open it. Water comes pouring in, and I'm like, that shit ain't fucking leaving. That water is not pumping out. There's something blocking it. And sure enough, dude, we're getting all of this fucking rain. So we're downstairs from like 3:30 until 5:30, bailing out water with buckets. Running up the steps, throwing the water out. I mean, we're just trying to get this thing below the bowl a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so 5:30, 6 o'clock starts turning around. I'm on fucking Home Depot's website just trying to find something. I got to, because none of the places are answering, because obviously they don't open until 7:30. So I'm on Home Depot's website, and I find this thing called a water bug that people use to like take water off the top of their pool covers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck. I went to the store, grabbed one of those, came back, hooked the garden hose up, took it out the back door, turned that fucker on. I was like, cool. We got a quick Band-Aid.
Right.
This thing's running. But we got to get this shit fixed because I don't know how long this thing is going to run, and I don't want to have my back door open all night with the garden hose going out of it. And so we call around all these places, and no one's calling back at first. I'm like, what the fuck? And finally, you and another buddy of mine recommended a joint, so we called them. And they came out, and they're like, hey, we're going to auger. I'm like, cool, man. They'll clear it. And this guy comes in, and he starts augering. And I mean, he's fucking jamming this thing into the wall. It's caught like 5 feet outside the house. And he's like, this ain't budging, dude. And finally, he pulls the thing back, and he looks at it. He's like, yeah, there's clay on this. That thing is collapsed. And he's like, unfortunately, right now, he goes, all we can do is get somebody else to give you an estimate on Tuesday. We're like 4 to 6 months backed up on jobs. I'm like... He's like, but what you can do is you can run a hose from your sump pump and stick it down your drainage pipe across your fucking basement, and that'll be a Band-Aid. And I'm just like, you want me to do what now? And he's like, yeah, just go buy one of these tubes and plug it into the air, and you're good to go. And I'm like, well, he's going to do this. He's going to show me how to do this. He's like, nah, it's easy to do. So I'm just like, okay, wait a minute. You want me to do what? So I go to Home Depot, buy 75 feet worth of tubing to go around to the shit down in the base, and there's all those boxes and stuff, so I had to like maze my way through it. Get it hooked up in there, and it's just pumping water into the drainage. I'm just like, okay, this seems off. This doesn't seem right. I mean, it's not. They don't recommend you do it, but it's the only thing we can do. And so now I'm at this point. I'm like, okay, I don't believe his name is. No, he was not Mario, and he didn't have his brother Luigi. You're hilarious. There's half-ass beer review. We're gonna talk about him in a minute. So, long story short, I'm calling around all day on Friday, and I can't get anyone to call me back. And if there's anything more frustrating, is feeling like you're alone on an island with no resolve to this situation. Because all my biggest fear now at this point is one of these tubes is going to start leaking, or better yet, or worse yet, it's going to burst, or the drainage is going to back up completely.
There's a lot of familiarity with this conversation.
You know where I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about. So, full panic mode.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I reach out to a plumber that another friend of our family that knows, and he said, hey, call them up. And I tried texting him, and I didn't hear back, so I texted him again at Friday night at 8 o'clock. I'm like, this guy's going to be so fucking mad I'm texting him right now. And I was like, I explained this to him. I'm like, look, man, we need this shit. We're supposed to get a bunch of rain. Can you do anything? And he replies back, and he's super helpful. Like, this guy's really nice. Like, he's responding. He's like, hey, send me a video of the sump pump and everything that you're doing. And then, like, tomorrow morning, take me pictures outside the house of where all your stuff is. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do all that shit. At this point, I'm like, I'll do whatever you want, dude.
Right.
I'll do whatever you want. And so he messaged me back. He's like, I'll have somebody out there to take a look at it, sometime this week. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. It's better than 4 or 6 months.
Right.
This dude texts me at 8 o'clock on Monday. I'm sending a guy out right now to take a look at it. Like, oh, okay, all right, cool, man. Guy comes out. He's like, where's your pump come out at? I'm like, right here. He's like, all right. Starts digging a hole. They pull out the pipe. It's basically crushed. The foundation had settled, and the pipe kind of like just bent with the ground. And he's like, all right, so another one of his buddies shows up, and then the main plumber guy shows up. 2 hours later, done. Everything's repaired. Everything's working properly.
Yeah, because you were looking at, like, throwing a wall at that crisis
Dude,
shit.
It's the way that the other guys were talking, like, you're going to have to have an extra excavator come in and all this shit. And I'm like, oh, my God, are you fucking
Yeah, they
kidding me?
play that worst-case scenario
They
card
did.
real fast.
And this guy came out, looked at it, and he goes, nah, dude, we can fix this right here. The problem is right here. The rest of the tube is fine. We checked it. Everything is good out to the drain. We just got to replace this. So it was like a different material of tubing. It wasn't a good like PCV pipe.
Mm-hmm.
It was something kind of a little flimsier. So now they have a PCV pipe going out to the other part, have it connected. The tube was typically, I think it's about, I think it was like 4 or 5 feet down, Trick. But don't quote me on that. I'm not a fucking handyman. I don't know. It was deep. But it is working. Crisis averted. But man, I tell you what, that was the most stressful 48 hours ever because I was seriously downstairs constantly checking those tubes.
Yeah.
Because one of them, the front one, was leaking a little bit. It's a little bit. I'm like, here we go. And like, so she bought another sensor. She has a sensor by the sump, and then she had a sensor by the drainage pipe because what if that fills up and starts spilling everywhere? Because that's closer to the wall and the carpet is part of the basement.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, do we need to buy another sensor to put by this tube?
They're not
And
that
she's like,
expensive,
like, no, you don't need that much. But dude, it was an absolutely chaotic, stressful, anxiety-filled weekend. I feel like I got more grays in my beard. I feel like I aged about 5 years.
Yeah, judging from your picture earlier, you did.
Yeah. I aged a lot since that photo, dude. But no, it was a very chaotic experience.
Yeah.
But I just want to give a shout out to Weselick Plumbing in Saginaw. Weselick Plumbing, they are incredible. They are quick to answer your call. They are quick to assess and quick to repair, and they do a great job, and they're reasonable, and I'm very fortunate to have come across them. I mean, don't get me wrong. The other folks that came out here and checked stuff, they did a great job arguing, but they weren't in the position to be able to start fixing stuff, and they're backlogged with work, and so they had to send somebody out to estimate, and I was like, dude, I love you guys, but I need this shit to get I need to get this worked out now.
You ain't lying, Josie.
And so they came out, they knocked it out,
cool.
And kudos to that's the thing, Trick. Like, the first guys that came out talking about the excavator stuff.
Yeah, you're talking like, moolah, boy.
Yeah, they were like, so you're looking at like $2,000.
At least.
At least. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
So these guys came out and like, no, you don't need an excavator. We can do this. And it was, I think, $320.
That's crazy.
$320 for all of it.
That name pops up a lot when you search for plumbers in the area. So you're saying that's who you need to talk to.
That's who I would talk to. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, they responded quickly. They didn't. I mean, I'm sure they won't want you to keep messaging him at 8:00 on a Friday night. The kid's a young man and he wants to have fun and do his thing. But for him to reply and then have somebody out Monday and have the problem resolved by noon, I mean, that's my plumber going forward forever. Because they're just that good. And it was the young man was his son, and then his dad's the main plumber, and he came out, looked at everything, and I mean, they were just fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge relief. So it was a stressful weekend. Did not get a lot of stuff done that I wanted to for tonight's show. I know Brian's in here. He's waiting for us to talk about All of Us Are Dead. Tone has watched all of them. I have watched 5 of them, but I feel like in a general conversation, I feel like it's enough to kind of like just talk about the show in general early on. And
yes.
Tone can obviously, kind of hint at. We don't want to spoil anything for anybody in case for the folks that haven't seen it yet, but we'll be talking about All of Us Are Dead later on. I really wanted to watch the whole fucking show, but yeah, dude, I slept any moment that I could because I was awake most of the time just panicking about what could possibly happen. So very, very chaotic weekend. Tone, let's come back to
I was drunk.
Let's come back to half-ass beer review because it is a very special milestone, a special week for Josh over at Half-Ass Beer Review.
That's right.
He hit episode 200.
Episode 200 of Half-Ass Beer Review, HABR. Finally, this week, dropped a special little episode that myself was able to be involved in, and his friend Luke as well, too. I like to say maybe my friend now, Luke, as well too. But little skit ditty at the beginning. Had a good time doing that. I felt like all 3 of us kept checking each other. Like, are you okay doing like some skit like this? I'm like, bro, I'm here for that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to do some bits. Like, I'm ready for some bits. Like, we did a pretty fun skit and bit to get that kicked off. But I know he's probably tired out. He's had a long day. He's had a long week as well, too, as always. There he is, yes. Someone may have actually touched his nuts. That's actually a fact. It was not me this time, but yes, that did happen. But if you get a chance, check out his YouTube channel over there. Give him a little sub over there. Check that out. Check out the videos. I've fortunately have been recently on a few of the episodes as we've seen the Beer in the Hat. It's a 5-part miniseries, pretty dope as well too, and then stayed after the 200th episode and did a few more episodes with them this week as well too. So I like drinking beer and I like talking beer and I like having a conversation about it. So thank you for that. But congratulations to you as well too, Half-Ass. We appreciate you being here and being a part of this community as always and doing content with us as well too. And yes, today was the Boston Cream Stout episode from Untitled Art. That was one of the most amazing stouts I've probably ever had if I stop and think about it. So
Really, that good, huh?
it literally tastes like you're biting out of a custard long john. It's unbelievable and uncanny. Like don't stop believing from Pigeon Hill is
that still the unofficial beer of B&B, or is this one going to replace it?
Oh, OCP is the official beer here.
Okay.
I think OCP.
Oh
yeah, I'm talking
OCP. Yep.
But this Boston Cream Stout, so much that I was trying to find one for you tonight too at Boardwalk, but unfortunately they don't really care.
Hey man, if it's good, it's a good chance it's not going to be available.
Well, they just don't really get a whole lot Untitled over there, but I'm trying.
You're working on it. He's working on it.
I'm working on it.
No, seriously, Josh, congratulations, man. That's fucking awesome. He puts together awesome videos. They're very insightful. They're very entertaining, and it's about beer. I mean, how the fuck can you not enjoy a cool dude drinking beer with other cool dudes and talking about it? I mean, it's pretty dope, man. It's pretty dope. So congrats. Make sure you check him out. We've got the link right there in the chat. Go give him a follow. Check out his videos. He's a good friend of the show, and we're very, very, very happy for him. He's killing it right now. Doing a great job.
That's right.
But Tone, speaking of drinks.
Speaking of drinks, here we are.
What the fuck are we drinking tonight?
So, I don't know if you've actually had this half-ass, and I know you certainly haven't. Because I haven't. The Dream Seeker, it's a raspberry blonde. Very mild, and I was like, this could go either way. This could have some really weird bite in it or something. This is actually pretty smooth. The raspberry is not overly, like... I can always take a lot of raspberry personally, but I just feel like everything's really nice and level. It's a very mellow, delicious on the palate, kind of smooth. Yeah, it's. I thought it was gonna be 50-50 and ended up being way better than I thought it was gonna be.
That is
that's really
actually
good.
really fucking good, dude. A fruit beer full of intense raspberry aroma and flavor with a dry, crisp finish balanced by sweet, refreshing tartness.
It's delicious. It's delicious. So. Yeah, you have to try it, man. I found it at a Boardwalk. And you know, Perrin comes out with some of these beers that are just really, really good. One of the few IPAs I like they make. So
that is really, really good, you guys.
Never go wrong with raspberry.
Oh no, I'm a huge fan of raspberry. I love raspberry anything, dude. I love raspberries in general, but I mean, like anything fruity, like a drink with raspberry.
Oh yeah,
like
never go wrong.
No joke, like blue raspberry Slurpees. Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Magnifique.
Yep,
they're magnifique, dude. They're fucking amazing. So, yeah, this is really, really tasty. You been playing anything?
I've had to stop a little bit of my Trails of Cold Steel 2 play because I cannot. I know I talked about it last week, but I can't stop playing Horizon Forbidden West to the point where, like, on my lunch breaks, I get an hour, right? I will eat my lunch in about 15 minutes while watching, like, some random YouTube video or some half-ass beer review, whatever it might be. And then for 45 minutes, proceed to play Horizon because I can't put it down. So there it is.
It's that fucking good. I got back to it on Monday night for another episode of Storytime with the Dude. I love Dan's question over on Facebook. When are you guys going to do an episode where you guys drink yourself to hospital levels?
We tried on episode 50, bro.
Man.
Or when Drassen was here last time, we tried. But you tried.
I was pretty fucked up.
You got fucking lit. That's a great question, Dan. I don't know if everybody can see each other. I know cross chats like that, but yeah, hopefully sometime in the near future. That's my goal. I set goals for myself.
Drass is like, huh? What? I wasn't there. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Drass, when you were here, Drassen, and we were drinking your beer, and Dude was like guzzling everything in sight. Remember?
You know what I really think we should do this summer though, when it gets warm out, is do a show sitting outside. I just get shit.
I think that would be a good time. Would you guys like to watch us get shit faced on a Saturday afternoon?
Like get Josh over here on a Saturday afternoon, sit around the fire pit, get the camera set up.
You could smoke some food.
Yeah, dude. We could do. Ooh.
Yeah, you could smoke some food.
Maybe
you know what I'm saying?
Heat out here.
Oh man.
Get some of those guys, just like a round table at the fucking fire pit. That would be fucking entertaining, man.
Smoke you both your mouth.
I'll smoke both your meats. Well
Jesus. Then. Okay, Uncle.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that. That sounds good, Frank. That sounds good. We'll get Tricky up here. I know he'll make some food. I know he can drink. Dude, that'd be a wild stream, man.
It sounds like a really good time.
Saturday night IRL shit fest.
I know. We got to plan this out.
That'd be pretty hot. And I know Cuddles is supposed to be up this
Cuddles
way.
Apparently might be coming up this summer.
I think he said June. Maybe we'll do it in
Maybe
June.
June or July.
One of those months. Oh,
it's
my
a hot
God,
month.
dude. That would just be I don't even know. You know, I don't even know if we should do it live. I wonder if we should just record that.
Yeah, right. Might have to edit some shit.
Yeah, there might be some heavy editing going on.
Yeah, smoked mac.
He's gonna make that smoked mac and cheese.
Hey, listen, buddy.
Okay.
Like, I know we're pals and all, but I do some favors if you bring up some smoked mac.
He does favors for anything. He does
That's true.
favors for a fruit roll up.
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen him do it. It's
I
disgusting.
do it if it's strawberry.
I mean, I
all
would
day.
too. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at you.
They
All right, Tone. We got a lot of shit to talk about tonight.
do.
We're gonna start off with some movie reviews.
Oh,
Yeah, obviously last week we did not do a B&B proper. We had a
Right.
lot of fun with Jackbox Party Game,
That's
which
true.
is something we will definitely add to the rotation. I do think the next one, though, is going to have to be back to Mario Kart. We got some new tracks.
We got some new tracks to play, boys.
8
and
new
girls.
tracks, so we're going to definitely check that out on the next
Yep.
community night. We'll let you know when that is in the Discord, so make sure you're in the Discord. The link has been going about throughout the chat here. Make sure you join us so you can find out when our next community night
Watch
will be.
that
It'll be
rotation.
shenanigans. Wild. We got some
Yeah.
new tracks. But on to the movie reviews. The first one we are going to talk about, The Adam Project.
That's right.
It's available now on Netflix. It stars Ryan Reynolds, Walker Scobell as young Adam, as young Ryan Reynolds, Jennifer Garner, Mark Ruffalo, Zoe Zelma, and Catherine Keener. Jay Hill, we will not be getting into
No spoilers, buddy. No spoilers. No worries.
This is not a spoiler dive, just very general conversation about the movie itself, the quality of the story, the quality of the performances.
And I feel like actually that's a good point to even bring that up. I know in the past on a lot of things that we
it's
sometimes
not going to be a deep dive.
I think we're going to try going forward to try and stay away from heavy spoilers and things.
We won't talk about plot
things.
devices. We won't
Right.
talk about anything that's outside of the trailer, so to speak. I
Right.
mean, whatever you see in the trailer is pretty much the.
Yeah, we're trying to rein that in a little bit as well too. So for some feedback from everybody. So just chill, Jay Hill. How's that?
Like Tone, we won't go deep. So, Tone, your thoughts on the Adam Project, directed by Sean Levy, who
Yeah.
directed Free Guy and who is now helming Deadpool 3.
Yeah, and honestly, and I liked Free Guy. I thought, again, Adam Project is similar to that, is that it knew what it was and stayed properly in its lane.
Mhm.
Didn't need to be overly thought-provoking, I don't think. But honestly, I think Free Guy is a fun movie. I thought this is a fun movie. I think I like this actually more than you. And, it's interesting. I found there were people out there that really this movie resonated with that, including celebrities. I saw John Kersiak. What's his name from your show that you watched, that movie, The Quiet Place or whatever it is?
Oh, John
Krasinski.
Yeah.
Apparently, he made some comment in social medias about how it just made him feel like a kid again.
Oh, yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds actually replied to that message as well too on social media. I like to say that because I love Ryan Reynolds, but that's what this felt for me. This was a very nostalgic feeling movie. Everything just really hit
Yes.
the boxes I wanted,
Mhm.
and the things that I think you'll probably bring up were things I probably didn't look as deep into, and I kind of ignored to
I
a
wouldn't
degree.
say that they're deep. It's just
Yeah, they're not deep.
sight.
Yeah,
Sight
it's just-
things. You see it and you just think, and automatically make maybe it could be unjustified comparisons, but continue.
Right. Well, because I think we talk so much about media that inherently we're going to be maybe more critical than some, I
Sure.
think, in a way.
yeah. Overly critical.
Because
yeah.
you make a good point about the one specifically about some of the face tech. But I loved this movie. I thought it's what you expect from something Ryan Reynolds would do,
Mhm.
and he's kind of like Keanu in that sense. He gets typecasted, and he fits in where he needs to. I go to a movie watching a Ryan Reynolds movie because I'm looking to have bits, funny laughs, and maybe some action, and that's what I want from Ryan as well too. He never bores me. I never get sick of him. I actually feel like, not to get super sidetracked, that the kid that played in this movie, first of all, I hope he has a long career.
Mhm.
I saw some of his bits that he did even with Ryan Reynolds, when they were filming this, and a blooper piece, and then his cast trying out for this role.
Mhm.
That kid's going somewhere. I actually felt him. I don't. What's the kid's name? Do you guys his kid's name over there?
It is Walker Scobell.
Walker and Ryan Reynolds had better chemistry than Ryan and The Rock from that other movie.
Oh yeah. Exactly. That's how I feel about them. The other movie.
Yeah. They had unbelievable chemistry. I don't know what it was. I know he was playing a younger version of him, and I know they had to work on those things,
Yeah.
but I literally felt like it was so fluid, like you could literally believe that this was literally a younger version of him.
Yep.
And that was great. And again, I think overall for me, just because of the nostalgic pieces, it felt like, Flight of the Navigator or just something out of like an 80s flick. And there's a lot of Easter eggs and homages that they play to a lot of things in this as well, too, very openly as well. Man, I don't know. I felt like the entire time I was watching this movie, I was on this like sugar rush as a kid. Like I was popping Faygo back and eating fucking pizza rolls, and it was like 1992 again. So I can't speak enough of this. I don't know how well it's done overall. I know most people I've talked to actually enjoyed it, and it's gotten a lot of positive feedback, I guess. So yeah, that's been it. I'm a big fan, and the fact that Mark Ruffalo was in it too. Now Sean Levy apparently is going to be doing Deadpool 3.
Yep.
Now they're saying that there's this Easter egg with him and Mark that Hulk might be involved in the Deadpool 3 movie as well too.
Ooh.
Kind of exciting. So I'm game, man. Give me this more. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. No, and that's fair. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm going to come out and be like the polar opposite. I mean, I thought it was a decent flick.
Yeah.
But, and I agree with you, man. This is shades of like 80s Spielberg or some of the movies we loved growing up, The Explorers.
Yeah.
Or Last Starfighter. I mean, it had a lot of those tropes, a lot of those elements where you're just like, yeah, man, it's nostalgic as fuck. Stuff that I can really get into. It's Ryan Reynolds doing Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it's I feel like it's not typecasted for the character, but it is just typecasted for him.
Yes.
Like it's just Ryan Reynolds doing Ryan Reynolds. It's not a very difficult role for him to play, even though there are a couple of scenes in there that are good, because I do feel like this movie does have a really good underlining story revolving around older Adam and younger Adam and the trauma they've experienced, with the loss of their father and whatnot, which is again explained in the trailer. But like it's that part of it I really enjoy. I feel like there are some really heartfelt moments. I thought there's some really strong moments in the show that allow him to show his acting chops. Jennifer Garner is there, and she's good at what she does, and Mark Ruffalo is good, and I do like the Walker, the Scobell kid. I'm a huge fan of Zoe Saldana, but she is she's underused in this movie. She doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, and that's unfortunate because I do like her.
Yeah, I think that was more about, hey, look at the name we got.
Yeah, that was definitely just a, hey, we have a big time cast. And then also Catherine Keener, who I think is phenomenal, especially in like 40-Year-Old Virgin. She was amazing in Being John Malkovich.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's a really good actress, and I feel like this one, she's just. I don't know if this was the right flick for her, and I don't know if it was the direction that she was given or the material that she's just trying to make the most of. Not a very good villain.
She wasn't a viable, a believable villain.
No, she wasn't. And again, that's more or less. It's not anything to do with her talent. She's obviously a very talented actress. I think she's amazing, but it's just not a really good a movie for her. My issue with the movie, man, is like as grandiose as this movie should have been, I feel like this felt like a small screen budget. I did. I mean, again, you have Zoe Saldana here, but then you have some of the worst de-aging effects we've seen in a movie in a long time.
That's true.
I mean, you're paying big money for the cast. You have, these are all big actors. These are all big A-listers, and these people star in big movies. But I feel like a lot of the money went towards that, and the special effects and the action was kind of like, no, it's Netflix. Nobody's watching it on a big screen. And I felt like it showed. But, yeah, one of the things that – and, again, this is just me, and I'm sure other people will nitpick and say that I'm being nitpicky, and that's fine. Anytime anybody busts out a weapon that resembles a lightsaber, automatically is going to be compared to Star Wars. That is such an iconic weapon. Dude, you can put an M16 or an Uzi in somebody's hands. That's so fucking overdone. It's like, okay, it's whatever. Yeah, it's exciting. I want to see action. John Wick does a lot of guns I've seen in movies, but it's exciting action. A dude breaks out something and even references it to a lightsaber, and it's just the action isn't anything compared to Star Wars. That in my mind is just like a miss. That's like
takes you out of it.
It does. It takes me out of it because the lightsaber is such an iconic weapon, and it is 1,000% always going to be synonymous with Star Wars. And when you see it here, and you're just like, okay.
It's not even. The funny thing is, it's not even really.
It's not, but it is. It is.
Kinda.
I mean, dude, it's close enough. You can't sit there and be like, oh, that's closer to a bazooka. It's a fucking lightsaber. He references it to it as a lightsaber.
6 in one, 6 in the other.
It is what it is. Like I said, for me, anyways. I see that, and it's just like the action itself was small scale, and anything that was bigger scale, it looked like CGI, and it was just kind of like, the action's kind of weak. I thought the action was kind of weak. But yeah, the special effects in general just really kind of pulled me out of it from which is otherwise a really good story and really good performances and like you said, a nostalgic trip for those types of movies. But overall, I thought it was a decent flick. I thought it was okay, but it didn't really it's not going to be something I'm going to jump back to watch again. It's not. I don't think it's anywhere near the upper echelon of Ryan Reynolds' stuff.
That's fair.
But it was, I mean, for what it is, a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
It's
so
fine.
you see, so for me, like I would totally watch this again and probably would over and over. Very honestly,
Really?
yeah, I would.
Okay,
I was really like I said, I just felt like a fucking kid. Like for whatever reason, when I was watching that, I caught myself with my jaw open a couple. That's how I know I'm like involved in something. It's something like I start to get the drooling thing right. But I think it just because it just shadowed so many things from my imagination as a kid and things that I always want to see. And you're right, maybe the CG wasn't as great, but I would say that, Netflix, here's the thing, Netflix series are usually really solid. Their movies, they're really trying hard with movies. So I give them credit. And I would say probably about a third of what they throw, or maybe even less, at the wall actually ends up good. I mean, you can talk like The Irishman, things like that.
If you look at, I mean, I'm not trashing Netflix movies in general because obviously you look at fucking Don't Look Up. That's nominated for Best Picture.
Right, yeah. And I'm just saying, that is weird. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That is weird. And I didn't even really like that one.
I thought it was okay.
Right.
I didn't think it was Best Picture material. But
yeah, no, that's weird. But my point is that even that, I think is fair enough to say, like, for every 10 they throw out, 2 or 3 of them are pretty good. 2 or 3 of them, so they're getting there, I think. But I mean, I just, again, I go into this knowing I'm getting Ryan Reynolds. I know Josie was saying it, it's built for Ryan Reynolds. You're absolutely right, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I know what I'm getting with Ryan Reynolds. I'm aware enough of that. I'm going for that. That's the thing. Like prior to even Deadpool, I know everybody goes back to National Lampoons was the thing for him. For me, it was Waiting.
Right. Oh, hell yeah.
Waiting is what changed me on Ryan.
Van Wilder was awesome, but Waiting was fucking incredible.
Waiting was next level for me. And then, of course,
as somebody who's worked in that industry, I was like, okay, this guy,
yeah, exactly.
This movie in general just gets it.
And your favorite X-Men Origins Wolverine when he played mouthless
there you
Deadpool.
Go. Yes, there you go. Cherry asked a question. Would you rather the budget have gone to effects or actors? I will say this. You probably could have gone without Jennifer Garner. She doesn't get a whole lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
Probably didn't need a big name for that. You definitely didn't need a big name for Zoe Saldana's role.
No.
Could have gone with some lower pay. I mean, I'm not saying you could grab a shit actor, but you could have probably got somebody with less budget and then put rest of the budget towards the special effects and make it a little bit more just exciting. Like honestly, man, when the action ramped up, I was just kind of like, it's okay.
I thought Mark Ruffalo and actually Ryan Reynolds had some funny on-screen too. I thought they were surprised on that chemistry. Honestly,
man, honestly, everyone in this movie is a talented person. It's just multiple of them. Like Jennifer Garner isn't given much work. Zoe Saldana was wasted. Yeah. Catherine Keener, I think, is just miscast. You probably could have got somebody else. Somebody else to play that role that would have been a little bit better in that role. But no, I think they could have made some cuts on some of the actors and put it towards the effects. Absolutely. I mean, I love Jennifer Garner and Zoe Saldana. I think they're really, really good. But for the material they were given, I don't think you needed a big list name for those
I'm
roles.
pretty sure. I thought from what I read that they didn't even really pay much to Jennifer Garner. She took some Big Mac coupons or something. Said I ain't doing shit. So
hey man, then that tells you what kind of budget these Netflix.
You
movies
love
are
Elektra.
I think they spent too much time before the action, and they were like, "Okay, we have 10 minutes left of the movie."
70 of every 10 Netflix movies. How many are Adam Sandler movies?
That's a good point too. I think I like Cuddle's point there. I think they spent too much time before the action. They were like, okay, we have 10 minutes left of the movie. The ending did feel really rushed compared to everything else. The ending felt kind of chaotic.
They were really trying to story build with the emotions and the characters and things going on as well too.
Which I felt was the strength of the movie. I really liked those.
Yeah, because even the ending, I kind of almost half forgot. I'm like, oh, this is really nice.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, there's some strengths to the movie, especially with the storytelling portion of it, the narrative and whatnot. I thought it was good. But I just felt like, this – I don't know if this thing would have translated to a big screen type of movie. Right. Then there's Jeremy Irons, John Malkovich, and Rachel Weisz that are horrific bomb Aragon. Aragon was – you take those – I mean, seriously, man, there you go. Jeremy Irons, Oscar-winning actor. John Malkovich, Oscar-nominated actor. Rachel Weisz, very talented. And they show up in a shit movie. Crazy, man, how you can see the actors getting these movies like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah,
paycheck, baby. They weren't thinking at all, just a paycheck. No, decent flick. Probably not something I'm gonna remember Ryan Reynolds for. Not gonna be a top 5 for me. But yeah, nostalgic in some ways, a decent story. Just some other areas were a little kind of okay, whatever.
I think it's good enough where everybody should watch it and let us know
Oh
what
yeah,
you think.
absolutely. It's definitely worth a watch. I mean, if you're sitting
Yeah.
around on Netflix on a Saturday night and you got nothing else going on, it's
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
Fun stuff.
Whatever you expect from a Ryan Reynolds movie,
Right,
you're gonna
right.
get it. He's
Right.
funny. It's entertaining in that degree, and you're never checking your watch,
Mhm.
but keep your expectations. For a sci-fi adventure movie, some of the sci-fi elements are a little bit weak, but the story's pretty good.
Mhm.
So not bad. All right, Tone. Let's move on to the next movie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ty West's X, the latest from A24 Studios.
Man.
We talked about this movie a couple months ago when the trailer came out. We watched the trailer and we were like, yep,
Got to see that.
gotta go see X movie. A story about a independent adult film crew that is trying to make the best porn movie ever. At the time when VHS and home video is starting to grow, they're like, we're going to put together the best porn movie ever. With plot and a cameraman that's like, I'm going to shoot this like a fucking AAA home, like a movie theater experience. And they go out to derelict fucking Texas to a backlot to shoot a porn on what looks to be the set of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Literally. And Tone, I think you and I agree this movie did not disappoint.
Right. And I feel like it's hard to say even something like this. Is it like, listen, is anything perfect in life? No. Can you get close? Yeah.
Sure.
When you're trying to fit
That's
yourself.
my wife. I can get close.
Well, close, but you finish in a few seconds. But the thing is like when you're aware of what you're trying to build and what you're doing, it really, I feel like it's like a teeter-totter. Like it's gonna go good or it's gonna go really bad.
Yep.
And I feel
even
like
more so in the horror genre.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Yes, because especially for people like me who's like, I'm real particular about what I like. I like slasher stuff, but I'm very usually picky on it, you know?
You're not there for the jump scares because you're not jumpy, but
I
you're there for
can't-
the gore
I
and
want-
for
yeah.
maybe some thought-provoking stuff.
Right. I can't. Jump scares are boring to me. I'm not jumpy. This didn't give me. I mean, it had a couple, I'd say.
Yeah, there's a couple.
There's a couple of good
moments.
ones. I saw you pee your pants, I think, once. But
I did jump at a couple.
but no, listen. This movie nailed an entire like timepiece era, and just there was some unexpected things and where I like how it all played out, I would say, and who necessarily may have been involved in a way. But like, man, like for what you would want from something that looks like a grainy filmed 40-year-old movie, this was damn near perfect. This did everything I want in a slasher film like that. And I think what I like about it is that I feel like it was kind of self-aware. I think you have to be self-aware of what you're doing. And
Absolutely.
As we're finding out afterwards, especially with my friend who also saw it, find some of these like the foreshadowing stuff that we're coming up with, some crazy foreshadowing and stuff like that. But I tell you what, like this movie, it's another one of those ones you go to the theater. I don't think it's terribly as long as some. How many minutes was this?
This was about 100. I think it was about an hour and a half, hour and 40
Right.
minutes.
So, which is a sweet spot for me because sometimes unless it's like Marvel, I don't really want to do a 2-hour movie typically.
Right.
But I was like the entire time like this is fantastic. Like I was in the entire time locked in, dialed in, enjoying everything that was going on, laughing at sometimes the absurdity of certain things.
Oh yeah.
Because it was perfect. I can't listen. If you like slasher flicks, and like I said, slashers are hard for me.
Yep.
I'm pretty particular, especially about my slashers. It's gory as fuck.
Yes, it is.
The characters fit every archetype you want.
Yep.
And goddamn, if it wasn't fucking fun as fuck to watch. So I'm telling you right now, go and see this if you can, because this did exactly what it needed to do, and I'm very thankful for it. And I know you're gonna get a little bit deeper in some of this stuff, but the fact that there's potentially more.
Yeah, stay for that end credit scene that we didn't stay for, that we had to watch on YouTube.
Yeah, sorry, if it's not a Marvel film,
he
I'm not
literally
staying.
looked at me at the end of the credits. He's like, "Is there an end credit scene?" I was like, "No, I don't think so."
Well, because at this point you got to check all the time, right?
You do, you really do. Unless
Yeah.
it's Venom, you don't have to check around. You have to stick around for that, or Morbius. I heard that movie's really doing good. I heard that's supposed to be awesome. Those press screenings really turned out well for that. Anyways, I digress. Back to X. Just to kind of piggyback off what Tone said and get without getting into spoilers. This movie nails that vibe and presentation of 70s and 80s horror slashers, particularly Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The thing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was so eerie, other than Leatherface, was the setting itself. This setting of isolation out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just like you're secluded. You have nobody to help you. It's like the tagline from Alien: when you're out in space, nobody can hear you scream.
Yeah.
When you're out in the middle of fucking Texas, with no one else around, no one can hear you scream. And they're basically shooting this porn, this amateur or this independent porn at this backlot ranch, and they nail that Texas
in more than one way.
Yeah. And mind you, they're making a porn in this movie, so there's a lot of sex.
Nudity.
It's a bad thing.
A lot of nudity.
But they nail that vibe with just that eerie, unsettling, something is amiss here. I mean, and I'll get into the characters and the archetypes that Tone's mentioned, because I feel like that's why they're kind of oblivious to the nature of the situation. The one thing that I like about this, you mentioned about the performances, like everyone has their motives, everyone has their motivations, and it's very clear where everyone stands with their beliefs and their principles. And that's part of the cool part of this movie is, yes, it's a slasher at the core, but there is some cool like social awareness, social stuff going on where you're like, oh yeah, because like the most important thing that you take with this movie, and one of the devices that's driving the movie that's kind of like underlying everything, the slasher part of it, is that there's a lot of different types of conflicting views, conservative views, liberal views, and stuff like that. And a lot of these characters, when it comes to the focus being on porn and drugs, because those are elements of the movie, you can see there's certain individuals that are more lax and chill, and they're just kind of like going with the flow. And then there's some folks that have more of those traditional values, and you only sleep with one person, and you only do. There's a lot of cerebral stuff going on in this movie, a lot of thought-provoking stuff. Which again, when you look at A24 and their movies, you're not just going to get a straight slasher movie. You're not just going to get a straight haunted house movie. There's always something else in there to make you think about it. And there are some really cool elements that they explore in this movie with a lot of the characters, and kind of like leading to you understanding why people are reacting the way they are.
And I would even say, to go with that, that was really good about it too, is sometimes perspectives would even evolve.
Yes.
And I thought that, like, I really enjoyed that.
There is a perspective that changes, and it's one of those. It's one of the more awkward scenes in the movie.
You says you.
I mean, it was a good scene, but it's in terms of like the chemistry amongst everybody involved. It's a very awkward scene, but you do see that. You see perspectives sort of shifting. I wouldn't even say they had a perspective. They were just kind of like unsure of things. There's obviously going to be people who have certain values over here and certain values over here, and then there's always those people in the middle that are like, I don't really know where I fit.
Just rub my butt cheek.
Yeah, just rub. I don't know where I really fit. So I mean, there is some like thought-provoking stuff going on, but at the end of the day, this is a fucking horror slasher, and it nails all those elements. It ticks off every box for everything else, but there is some thought-provoking stuff there, and that's why I feel like it elevates it a little bit to a higher level, and it makes it a little bit more enjoyable because, yes, it's at face value, it's a dumbed-down slasher. But if you take a second to, like, look into the characters, their motivations, and kind of, like, even the backgrounds of some of the characters, Howard and Pearl, the old couple, there's some stuff there where you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. It just gives you a little bit more perspective to things and how people deal with growing old and how women look at things and how guys look at things. There's a lot going on in this movie. But at the end of the day, you do get what you come for, though. If you're here for a slasher, you're going to get what you
did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
And there are, seriously, man, hilarious moments in this movie that take some awesome shots at the porn industry.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody in this movie is fucking awesome. Tone touched on the gore. The kills are fantastic. And again, practical effects.
Practical effects, baby.
I mean, I love when people get pieced out. It is gory, and you're just like, yeah, it might not look 100% real, but you're just like, that's fucking sweet because it is right there. It's happening. It's physicality, and that part of it was awesome.
Yep.
We do know that the end credits scene does suggest that they actually shot a prequel to this movie back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So we already saw the trailer. You can see it online on YouTube. I think there's one video out there where somebody recorded it. But I would wait to go see the movie first because it's actually pretty impressive considering Mia Goth is playing two different characters in this movie. We don't think it has anything to do with it's all about perspective. It's not like a connection, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a sequel coming. It's a prequel. It'll be at some point this year. I gotta believe. I mean, if it's already shot, this has to be something
summertime,
Halloween time, maybe, or something like that.
I don't know if they. I mean, maybe a summer hit.
Could be a summer hit. Hey, let the buzz build up on this. Get the next one out. Make
everybody should go see this.
Go see this.
If you like slasher films, you need to see this movie.
It's really good. And it is like if you're there for the TNA, you're gonna get that. If you're there for the gore, you're gonna get that. If you're there for the laughs, you're gonna get that. It's a fucking dope ass movie. Bottom line. And again, it just shows that A24 is operating at a different level when they do their horror movies. Midsummer, The Lighthouse, this. I mean, they've done some awesome movies. We saw a trailer earlier today when you get a chance to put in for the show called Men.
Yeah.
That looks fucking wild. So, I mean, if you see A24, it might not be it'll probably be the horror movie they're pitching to you, but there's always something underlining with that narrative that's always thought-provoking and really appealing. And I think that's what makes A24 films stand out just a little bit more than the other studios. I think they embrace that.
I think they're keeping it real.
They keep that shit
real. Shit real.
So yes, go check this out. X is in theaters right now,
yes.
And it is totally worth a look. Tone, we've got trailers, baby.
I'm excited.
We've got some trailers.
Big fan of the trailers.
And they're both HBO Max related.
Big fan of HBO related stuff.
Let's take a look. The first one, this one looks fucking dope. Jay Hill sent this in the Discord, and I don't know how I missed it, but this is called We Own the City. It is starring John Bernthal, who you love.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to butcher this name. Wonmei Masaku. She was actually the sister in Lovecraft Country.
Oh, shit.
Yep. She's in it. Treat Williams.
She was also TVA, wasn't she?
What's that?
She was also part of the TVA in Loki.
Yeah, she was. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
She's in it. And this tells the story of the rise and fall of the Baltimore PD's Gun Trace Task Force. Let's check out the trailer. We Own the City.
If I was going to look up one problem cop as a prime example of what's gone wrong here in Baltimore, where would I start?
I guess we want to run a little hypothetical by you. Say we're on an investigation. We found a big-time drug dealer, like a real fucking monster, right? We get wind on where he's keeping his cash. And we actually come upon that cash. It's right there in front of us, and we just, we take it. What would you think about that?
Everything changed when they came up with that expression, the war on drugs. With the war comes police militarization, the complete gutting of the Fourth Amendment.
They put me in a unit made up of a bunch of the biggest crooks in the whole goddamn department. There's all this money to be made, and I'm somehow supposed to be playing by the book with these motherfuckers?
Never giving up when I'm in my zone. I was gonna die when I lost my soul.
Jackpot, motherfuckers!
When I lose control. I don't see a light when I lose control.
So these cops, caught lying, and with their abusive behavior, remained on the street.
They did. If it is the feds who are on this, the case could go on for years.
What case? This ain't no Pablo Escobar, it's the police.
In a war, you need warriors.
On the ground, get down on the ground.
You have enemies. In a war, civilians get hurt and nobody does anything. In a war, you count the bodies, and then you call them victories. Aren't you angry?
Woo!
That's fucking real.
Yeah, I know you hadn't seen that trailer yet, have you?
No, that's.
This show looks fucking dope.
What does HBO not do that's good anymore?
I'm telling you, man.
Jesus.
This is based
The
on a
Wire
true
20, there you go.
story. It takes place during the turbulent riots when the people of Boston were demanding justice for 25-year-old Freddie Gray, the young black male who died suspiciously in police custody. I believe he was in the police van or whatever, and he died. And this investigation took place, and they were saying drugs and violence are the problem, and so they create this task force to go out there and clean the street up. But quickly, this task force decides to exploit the system for personal gain. And that is what this movie is following, or this limited series. It's gonna be comes out April 25th, 7 episodes long, and dude, a stellar cast, a lot of people involved who are very talented, including the director of King Richard. I mean, this looks fucking dope, dude. This looks like it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be gritty. There's gonna be people who aren't gonna be happy with this movie, obviously, but anytime you dig into this sort of corruption to see what the thought process was behind everything and how they carried out these things, I just find that so fascinating, because it's just like, how is this able to happen?
How do we get there?
How do we get to this point? How could these men in blue, these women in blue, these are supposed to be the people that are supposed to be protecting our city, and how easily they become corrupted. And it's just wild to think of it that way. I never want to think that about our police, but it's shit like this that has you going, fuck, man, I mean, can we really trust people? And, I mean, Tony, what you saw in this trailer, gritty. It's gonna be hard-hitting. And obviously the cast is incredible.
It's the Punisher prequel.
You got Frank Castle running around as a cop before he turned into the Punisher.
John Berthnall, when he puts himself into anything, he puts the fucking foot to the pedal. He doesn't fuck around. And that's what's great about him. He can play cerebral. He can play a lot of different emotions and things like that. And I get excited anytime I see his name attached to anything, very honestly. And I know I made that joke, but what does HBO make that's not good anymore? We got Netflix out there making great TV series. They were some of the first that really started, mainstream of streaming services doing that. But HBO says, nah, man, we Sopranos, we're taking our crown back all the time. So excited. I can't wait for this. I'm going to be hooked to that.
Yeah, I like what Josie Wells says. It's been going on since Prohibition. And honestly, man, I love it. Every year there's always a story about one of these events of, people in power and people in authoritative positions who take advantage of their power, and they find ways to get around the system and these loopholes for self-gain. And I always think it's fascinating to watch these things just to see how easy it is for these folks, these few bad seeds. They have a nefarious intent, and how they're able to achieve what they want to do with ease, knowing that they're, they got that shield, they're hiding behind that shield to carry out their own like personal wars and whatnot. And it's just it's wild. But this trailer looked fucking crazy, dude. Like, this looks really, really good. So this drops on April 25th. It's 7 episodes long. It's a limited series. But you better believe we'll be watching this, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a dope-ass trailer. So we're checking that out. All right, man, time to move on to the next HBO Max trailer. And this show I am particularly excited about, not only because it stars Ken Watanabe, but also it's the showrunner's Michael Mann. And if anybody knows who Michael Mann is, Heat, Collateral, Miami Vice, the show and the movie, even though I hope this is more towards the show than the actual movie. I didn't really care for Miami Vice, the movie. It didn't have that same. He tried to make it a grittier version of Miami Vice, the show, and it just didn't pan out. Even though I liked Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell in that movie, the story itself was just kind of a little meh. But Michael Mann knows his way around like a thriller, around anything that involves like the police and whatnot. And he's trying his hand at this show that's based on a 2019 memoir about a journalist who's working for a publication in Tokyo that is taking on one of the city's most powerful Yakuza crime bosses. Let's check out the trailer for Tokyo Vice.
With information, there is always a cost.
You wish to be a crime reporter in Japan. Why?
You think because you're a foreigner, the rules are different?
You like busting my balls, huh?
It is a great joy of my life.
Giving up and going home is not an option. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
この街の本当の姿を、裏の仕組みを知りたいんです。
And let me guess, this is how you recruit a cop. Jake. With information, everything you do has consequences. There's always a cost.
Jake, this is Sato. He's not as brooding as he seems.
What's it like to be a Yakuza? I could write about that.
Yes, but then I'd have to kill you. この国じゃ分野は嫌われてる。優秀なやつは特にな。
優秀な新聞記者は敵が多いってことですね。
敵のいねえ男は男じゃねえ。This world. Once we open a door, it is very hard to close. Don't write about this.
Wow.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Can I watch it now?"
Ken Watanabe, obviously, we're big fans of his. He was in the Godzilla movie. He's been in a lot of great movies. The guy's just an incredible actor. I didn't realize this, but Ansel Elgort, the kid right here, it was in Baby Driver. He's the main actor. He's the main kid in Baby Driver.
Oh, was he Baby Driver?
Yeah, he's Baby Driver.
Oh, I was wondering why I kind of recognized him.
Yep.
Okay.
He was in Divergent, and then obviously he's also starring Rachel Keller. And again, this is based on a true story, and this show looks fucking. Again, man, anytime Michael Mann is involved,
awesome.
He just knows how to shoot gritty. I mean, he is, in my opinion, one of the best action movies of the '90s. It is just such a good film. I love Heat, and he is also responsible for Manhunter. We've talked about that before. The very first interpretation of Hannibal Lecter by Brian Cox. Manhunter, he directed that. And he's just had a stellar career. The guy just knows how to make great movies. Going to be awesome to see him try his hands at a limited series. This is 10 episodes. 10 episodes, J. Hill. HBO Max beginning on April 7th. So through the month of April, dude, we're going to have this, and we're going to have more Showtime, and we're going to have We Own the City. If you don't have HBO Max, if this isn't a reason to, I don't know what is.
I'm telling you, man.
This is some gritty shit we got coming here,
Yeah,
Tom.
they're doing some shit right now.
And I mean, look at what HBO Max has done. I mean, look at what HBO in general, not even just HBO Max, just HBO. You've got all these shows, Lovecraft Country. We've had Showtime. We've had Peacemaker. We've got these coming up. They are fucking crushing.
They are
the limited series stuff. Now, I'm sure Peacemaker's going to get a second season. We know that. But like even these limited series that are just telling us a very isolated, confined story, they look fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like they're high quality, high production, great casting, gripping stories.
They're
awesome.
I mean, not only are they doing their original stuff, but just generally, if we want to talk about HBO for a hot sec, I mean, I find myself right now on HBO more than my other streaming apps.
Really?
I am. Dude, I'm watching Winning Time. I'm watching
Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves, Righteous Gemstones. They got Rick and Morty on there. You know, they've done some good with their TV. They're adding on there. They got like what is it? Not Cartoon Network shit that I like. Whatever. Like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, things of that nature. So I mean, there's so much different content out there too. I think Warner is just really kind of trying to figure out their way. And I think with the DC TV series, which I think ends up being better 90% of the time these days, better than like their movies. I think that they've got Titans on there and things of that nature. I think they're going to start leaning into that Warner Brothers stuff heavier too with some of the DC stuff. If they were smart, they would at the very least. Because I feel right now HBO for the bang for your buck, just for the fact alone that HBO will always have for you to watch The Sopranos is worth the $15 admission every month. So.
I don't think you're wrong. Jay Hill asks, how long are the Raised by Wolves episodes?
Fucking not long enough, man. That's a whole rabbit hole to go into, man. Like it's some of the best new IP sci-fi that's come out just generally, and then every episode or when the season's done, you have almost more questions. You almost don't know what's going on, and I think that's part of the allure for it as well too. So the episodes are anywhere from the normal standard 45 minutes to 55 minutes, I'd say.
Josie Wells says, man, y'all need to get on some of that Jujutsu Kaisen, Tokyo Ghoul. You like slashers? Watch Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul is dope.
What is Tokyo Ghoul?
Anime.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. What's that? What can I watch? Is it Crunchyroll or something?
Probably. Actually, it might be on Hulu.
Josie, where can I watch Tokyo Ghoul at?
I watched it on Hulu. I do. Yes, you're right on that, Josie, as well too. I've got Jutsu Kaisen
awesome.
on there as well too. I just actually added that to my watch list as well too. My pal at work told me to get on that as well. So Tokyo Ghoul's dope.
If there's one, I mean, right now for me, I mean, obviously, if I had to pick three right now, it's Netflix, HBO Max, and Disney Plus. Those are that's the only shit you need, dude.
That's the only three I would need, honestly, at this point. Those are the same three for me as well. I get it, like Dungeons Netflix is about to drop because of the price. I feel like a lot of people feel like that way sometimes about Netflix, but I feel like they do. I mean, they're really leaning into movies heavily, and they're putting out movies that are getting awards as well too, or at least nominated. So. I couldn't ever drop that. There's literally just so much content on Netflix, very honestly. But if it's not content you don't watch, there's another discussion there as well too. But there's actually a lot of anime on Netflix as
well. Joe Bryan says, if y'all need anime, you come to me. Brian knows what's up.
That's right.
About 9 out of 10 movies suck on Netflix. Like I said, man, they're kind of hit or miss. And I'm gonna go with Buried Alive right there, dude. I am now closing in on the last episode of season 1. I am fully.
Are you fully in now? You get it now?
In. Yes, yes, dude. It was just the episode where Ruth pieced out her uncle,
dude.
And I was just dude, like that show. I hate talking about shows like this. Years after they've already been out, because I'm just experiencing it now, and I'm just like, holy fucking shit, dude.
Man.
It's wild. And my wife keeps telling me, she's like, you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, and you haven't, and you're like, I don't know, maybe if this is worth just bringing up momentarily for you to see this as well too, because this is, is watching Jason Bateman from Teen Wolf, from Arrested Development, from Dodgeball, and all this stuff, and then to see him in a role like this, where we talked about many
Funny
times
guys
on here,
going into serious stuff.
and going into these serious roles, and him just like he literally to me is like, and it's comparing apples and oranges. I get it, but there's a debate there for me to where you say you look at Bryan Cranston in his acting in Breaking Bad, and then you look at what Jason Bateman's done with his Ozark. Man, I got to tell you, like it's fucking dark as shit, and he I don't know what it is. It's his presentation, like, because he doesn't wear a lot of emotion on his face. The dude is so like
he's very dry. He's very dry with a lot of his delivery.
But in the series, it's because his character is so fucking like his cranks are everything's turning all the time.
He's not remorseful.
He's skeevy.
Yes,
and he's very good at it. And goddamn, like man, I'm a super fan, of course, of the show.
No, I've been really digging it. We're trying to get like 2 episodes in now. I know this Friday is the final episode of The Servant. That show,
got that going on.
That show, dude. Like this season, we had so many questions going into this season. Like, where is he going with this? And the first 7 episodes were kind of like, okay. I mean, he's still kind of alluding to stuff, and in M. Night fashion. These last 2 episodes have been fucking fire. Like we're starting, because next season's the last season of The Servant, and now I feel like, okay, I see what they're doing. He's building this shit up. This last episode is going to be fucking nuts.
Right.
And then I'm going to be like, fuck, I got to wait now for God knows how long until the final season comes out. But if y'all have Apple TV, fucking watch The Servant. It is seriously one of the best shows I've seen in a while, simply because it's a small cast and everyone is so good. But it's just the eerie nature of that show.
That's great.
And like this last season so far, I'm getting like big time Rosemary's Baby vibes now. Like it is really unsettling, very creepy,
Like that.
Big fan of where The Servant is going right now. So, I mean, it's just, I'm in a great spot with shows, so it's difficult to jump into other stuff. So, not a fan. He's the same character.
I can't
every
agree
show.
with that.
I would disagree with that too.
I can't see Teen Wolf, Arrested Development, and Ozark being Jason Bateman the same, like, or Dodgeball in any way. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I feel like he has enough range where like his character in Dodgeball is absolutely nothing like the character in Ozark, and it's nothing like the character in Teen Wolf 2, and it's nothing like the character in Arrested Development. So, everyone, he's a miserable husband who hates his. I mean, that part. If you want to talk about the character's motivation, sure, but his performances aren't identical. I would disagree on that.
Yeah, I don't.
Sure, if his motivations for his character are similar, then sure. But he has the ability with his range to make his characters different. And how they handle being a miserable husband.
That's a bold move, Cotton.
That part is, I would argue with you on that one. Did you finish C? I did not. I couldn't get over the absurdity of season 1 of C, but I did hear season 2 is infinitely better than season 1. I have not watched season 2 yet. Well, he gets cast because of his acting of that kind of role. I mean, typecast, sure, but I mean, at the end of the
so does Ryan Reynolds and Keanu Reeves. Do you like their movies?
But I would still say, yeah, he gets typecast for the character itself, but his performances are much, much different than what you see. So again, I get what you're saying, but I feel like I would disagree with the fact that he's the same character. It's not like Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is literally the same character in every movie. Whereas Bateman has enough. I'm not saying Ryan Reynolds doesn't have range. I'm just saying Bateman has a lot of range where he can make these characters unique in different ways. Where I'm not like, that's the same character he played in that movie. I would argue that.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson range. I feel like, man, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I feel the one movie I really think that he shined in was The Rundown. With
with Michael
or
Paul, Sean Patrick Scott.
Sean William Scott. Sean William
Stifler.
Scott.
Just say Stifler.
Stifler, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I felt like that was one of those movies where Dwayne was like really allowed to like flex his chops
Well, that
a
was
little bit.
one of his early ones.
It was one of his early movies, and I feel like we've seen some other movies, and I haven't seen all of his stuff. I've not seen Tooth Fairy, but I mean he's like I feel like when it comes down to that stuff, I feel like yes, The Rock is going to get typecast as the big badass hero, and he is a big badass hero in Rundown, but that movie has enough character development where it allows him to kind of like step outside the tough guy role, and you kind of get to see another side of his character, and he's able to like convey
look at
that
Baller on HBO.
That's a great point too. Ballers.
It's
not an action movie, but you get to see more of his swagger, more of his confidence. Yeah, that's a good point. I think he's way different.
That's
than
definitely because people are paying him to be The Rock and everything. I think at that point, just to be a big bumbling idiot or whatever like that. But especially him, I just feel like he isn't. He's taking the paychecks to be that guy, but he's not that guy.
Right. Like he wants the good stuff. I just think he knows that.
I think
I'm a fucking mountain of a human being. I'm gonna just have to kill people and blow shit up.
He's just got nuts dry. I think you look at somebody, and this is a weird comparison, but I look at like Shaq, for instance, and his drive of being a businessman and like things like that. Like I recently watched an interview where he was talking about how he didn't want his kids growing up just seeing him as this big basketball player, but also smart with his money, being a good businessman, investing in things and trying, things in that nature as well too. Where I think The Rock's kind of like that as well too. He's kind of an investor. He's smart with his money. He makes a lot of money. He just like if you're a guy who can put out 20 movies a year, there's actors out there that will do 2 and they're like, I'm tired. But Rock just, you know what I mean? Like he's just got drive.
And J Hill makes a good point. Ryan Reynolds had that movie Life and Selfless, and yes, he's like I said. When these actors are given the opportunity to get outside of the movies that they're typically typecast in, because, like I said, for the most part, Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. In action movies or comedies, he's the same character in a different type of genre. Whereas if you put him in something like Life and Selfless, you're like, okay, look, dude, we don't need you to beat people up. We don't need you to be hilarious. We just need you to act. And when he's given those types of roles, which probably isn't going to be often because there's probably other studios like, hey, look, man, I know you want to do this independent film, this artsy film, but we're going to do Deadpool 3. We're going to give you $20 billion to do it. It's a real easy decision. It's not a difficult decision. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he would like to take these other roles, but when you have all these big studios saying, hey, man, here's a check, fill in what you want. We just want you to blow shit up and be a badass and be funny. there's only so much you can do with those roles.
Mm-hmm.
You just be Ryan Reynolds.
To be fair, some of my favorite rock things that he's ever done is actually on SNL. The dude is fucking hilarious.
Oh, his comedic timing is
dude,
on
his,
point.
His
dude.
shit that he's did on SNL has been fucking hilarious too. But anyways, that was a fun little
yeah, man.
I'm talking about
little segue there. We kind of went off the rails, but how you doing?
Right now. Well, might as well.
Might as well. Oh, hey guys, guess what? Tone's got to go tinky. He's gonna go tinky. Be right back. We got some gaming news, and then we have to get to All of Us Are Dead. So Brian can just
leave me alone and stop harassing me in all my DMs. He's literally a cyberbully, and I've had to block him from everything.
That's why we love it. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Tone's all done going tinky. All good to go. And we got some gaming news to discuss. Tone, we found out that Ilphonic is back at it again.
Once again.
The kings of asymmetric 4v1 gameplay and they're taking on the next big property. Now, obviously, we know them from Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th, Predator Hunting Grounds, and now they are taking on Ghostbusters. Which, honestly, man,
it's a big IP to grab.
This makes so much fucking sense. It really does. It makes a lot of sense. 4 Ghostbusters, 1 ghost, 4v1.
I ain't afraid of no ghost.
I ain't afraid of no ghost. So, Tom, we got a trailer for this game. Now, basically,
Someday.
right now, the game is still in development. There was a lot of hands-off impressions, but this is slated for Q4 2022.
Damn.
Which I believe is any time between October or November and March.
It's like late October to like
yeah, sometime like into 2023 fiscal year, Q4, whatever you want to call it.
Yum, yum.
But Tone, let's take a look at the trailer for Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed.
Yeah, we saved the world a few times. But between that, we provided a needed service to the masses. That's where you come in. We're passing the torch, or better yet, passing the particle thrower, giving you the tools. Now let's see if you have the talent. Keep your head up and your equipment charged. We're a team working together to watch each other's back.
Now, I know you're still a ghost-busting trainee, but there's much more here than meets the eye. Take a look at this. You have the chance to see firsthand what exists on the other side. Catching ghosts is only the half of it.
So you want to play as a ghost? I'd like to see you try to take on my team.
Shit!
So we know Trick's down, so that's our third.
Yeah, dude. Like, look, man, I love Ilphonic. I know they learned a lot with Friday the 13th, and they took that and they brought it into Predator Hunting Grounds, which you and I really enjoyed. That's a game we need to really get back into at some point. They've added so much to that game.
Yeah, man.
They've done a great job updating it. But now you're taking on Ghostbusters.
Dude.
And obviously, we saw that Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd will be playing their characters respectively. Winston Zeddemore and Ray Stantz. Winston Zeddemore will be stationed at the fire station, and then Ray will be over at Ray's occult books, and you'll go to Ray to kind of like customize your Ghostbuster, because that's what you get to do. You get to create your own Ghostbuster, customize it, and then you use Tobin's Spirit Guidebook over at Ray's Occults to, further improve and rank up your Ghostbuster. At the firehouse, players will customize their Ghostbuster and their loadouts. Ghostbusters. This is going now. What's cool about this is obviously Predator Hunting Grounds is a PS5 and Epic Store exclusive. Ghostbusters will be on Xbox, PlayStation, PS4, PS5, Series X, Xbox One, PC, everywhere.
But wait, there's more.
There is more. Cross-play. So you will always have someone to play with. And even then, if there's not enough people to play, there is a backfill feature in the game where you'll get AI. So you won't have to wait long. Like, in Predator and in Friday the 13th, sometimes you have to take forever to get into a match. But I assume there's going to be enough people playing this fucking game.
I would hope so.
If you need the backfill at launch, clearly something has gone awry.
If you never played the Ghostbusters video game, which is also supposed to be canon, it's supposed to be technically the third installment of the Ghostbusters original 2.
Yep.
If you hadn't played that game and you don't know, you technically were a cleric because all you ever did was raise the other 4 from the dead because you're the new guy with the Ghostbusters, and they were always laying on the ground crying about needing to be revived.
They were really stupid AI.
Yeah, so the backfill in AI does scare me just from that experience. However, that said,
different developer, so hopefully Ilphonic will have a better understanding of how to make their AI somewhat, understanding of what they're supposed to be doing as Ghostbusters. But we do know that Spirits Unleashed is set in the film's canon. It's canon.
Yep.
Canonically speaking, it takes place after the events of Afterlife. Spirits Unleashed will even borrow the films. It's good even to cross streams, so players can unleash a powered-up team particle beam. So, in the first one, they're like, don't cross the streams. And then in Afterlife, they're like, fuck it, let's cross the streams. What could go wrong?
Apocalypse, whatever.
So that's kind of like your team power-up. So... dude, I love the idea of being able to custom. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Ray and Egon and Venkman and all those. Do Ray Egon. But like the fact that they have that, and you can create your character and customize it to make it a unique experience where you actually get to be a Ghostbuster, not playing a Ghostbuster. It's you, and then you can make up your character. But here's the thing, Tone. You can also be a ghost.
Can I? What?
You can play as a fucking ghost. You can customize your ghost to how you want it to do.
Cool.
You're using portals to zip around the map,
right.
And the Ghostbusters are trying to catch you.
Can I be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
I would. That'd be a sweet ultimate, wouldn't it?
They better fucking
like you're
let me.
like your fucking Slimer, and then you take out two of the Ghostbusters, like your ultimate's ready, and then you just form into like the ultimate Stay Puft.
Yeah, man.
That'd be fucking dope. You just step on the whole building and game over.
Yeah, dude.
The thing is that the matches should last no longer than 10 minutes, which I think is perfect because obviously Predator Hunting Grounds could run a little long, but you still have a certain amount of time to get stuff. But 10 matches, can we also stay? But like, I mean, I think that's good. 10 minutes, I think it's a good match. Plus, if it's crossplay, you're going to be constantly playing games.
Oh man,
hype.
Love you, Ilphonic. I want you to know that I love you.
I'm really excited for this game. Now, again, there's a lot of hands-off previews that are out there. You can search them up. A lot of these sites got a hands-off demo of the game. A lot of strong, positive feedback from those impressions. Dude, let's go.
I absolutely.
It's a fucking
Trick
no-brainer.
said he's ready.
Trick's ready. I know a lot of the other folks in the chat are ready. And it's cross-play across several platforms. No Switch. The Switch would melt trying to run this game, probably. Have you ever played? Have you ever played Dead by Daylight on Switch?
No.
Oh man, not ideal.
No.
No, not ideal.
I like it from Mario Kart.
I'm there for Mario Kart and Kirby, dude. Did you see the Kirby reviews this week?
Yeah, what the hell?
Kirby looks dope.
It's the first time I've really debated about getting a Kirby game in a while.
My son is hyped.
Is he?
For Kirby. And he's off on spring break next week.
Oh, that's right.
He's going to be all over Kirby, dude.
Dang.
Kirby looks really, really good. Are you going to be No, here's the thing. We talked about it in the Discord. We're going to announce it here live. Sunday. Tone will likely be streaming.
Shut the fuck up.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Just shut your
12-hour stream. As a
Get
fan
the fuck
of
out
all
here.
things Gearbox, Tone is going
Did
to
it break?
be streaming. Yeah, I think it's done, dude.
Are you serious?
I think it's done.
No way.
No, it's hanging out.
You want some Scotch tape?
I haven't been able to get a new hat yet because I can't pick one. So I'm using this janky ass hat that's got one little clip left, and I can't pick one up. Tiny Tina's. Brian, you're hyped about Tiny Tina?
Oh wow!
What? No, Tom. What's your problem with Gearbox, man?
Randy Pitchford is a lying piece of shit.
Oh wow!
Clip that and show him.
Clip it and show.
You're a coked out
Don't
lying
say
piece
that
of
because
shit.
Brian will fucking.
I don't fucking care. Fuck you, Randy Pitchford. You're a lying piece of shit, and you might as well run Lionhead Studios like Peter Molyneux and lie about the shit that you're gonna produce. And then, when you don't produce it, and everybody calls you out for the shit that you didn't do, you blame the fans for it, and everybody else but yourself. Fuck you, Gearbox. Fuck you. Fuck your aliens, Colonial Marines bullshit. Fuck all y'all. Fuck. 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 Fuck.
Okay.
Motherfucker.
Brian, do not clip that. But I like Tiny Tina.
Well,
you would,
you're
pervert.
a pervert. Sure.
Truth be told, Brian, I have a pre-ordered.
Yeah, you would.
I do have a pre-ordered. I'll play Tiny Tina with you, Brian. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Got my pre-order.
Yeah, wow.
I like the fact that this one is built more towards like a D&D type of style game. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Some fantasy elements to it. Wow, this guy is so angry. He's so angry.
Yeah,
Angry.
Gearbox don't get my monies. You know that.
Ever?
It's
You
been
were
a long
a
time.
Battleborn guy, weren't you?
Yeah, you actually did buy the Battleborns. Don't even.
I did buy Battleborn.
By the way, Battleborn.
I was able to get in 3 matches before they closed it down 6 months later.
Even after that game was like flopped hard because it came out against Overwatch and got similar. Even though they were technically, I believe, different kind of games.
They were different games, but they were the same game.
We had the at GameStop. We always called it the bargain bin start kit, and that was always one of them. Like, oh, we got to put $5 games out there for everybody to choose.
What else was in the bottom pit?
That would also be usually Borderlands.
Oh, really? Borderlands?
Borderlands is always 5 or below. Let's see, Aliens Colonial Marine.
Oh, so basically,
see a pattern here? Weird.
Gearbox.
Fucking weird, huh? Battleborn would be in there. Sometimes you'd see was it Time Shift?
How quick was Anthem in there?
I don't know if we really had bins. We didn't have bins at that point.
It was probably online only. It probably wasn't a big turn-in game. Was it?
No. But Battleborn certainly was. But we were still trying to sell it then at that time when the servers were off too. Like, why are you selling it? Oh, what's that Bethesda game that didn't take off? It was the Blue Box. Begins with a B. It had like different characters. Fuck, what's that called?
Oh shit, dude, you got.
I think it was a Bethesda game. It was a multiplayer game. I think it was Bethesda maybe that published that. It was a multiplayer game.
Oh,
it had a blue. It was always a blue box, a sky blue box. I'll never forget that. That was always in there as well too.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it was Bethesda though.
Maybe it wasn't.
Was it the Xbox exclusive game?
No. I think that. Well, maybe it was. Maybe it was a 360 game or something like that, or an Xbox game.
I don't know what that one was.
What was that called though? It's gonna try me now. Anyways, yeah, but that was definitely Battleborn was always in the bargain bins.
That thing stood no chance because there was just enough similarities. It was a team shooter type of thing.
Yeah.
And there was just too many similarities with Overwatch, and Overwatch just absolutely ate its lunch, dude. It was over before it started.
Pretty much.
With that. But all right, moving on. We got some Witcher news. Tone, you're a fan of The Witcher.
Yeah, look at this. Wow.
A new Witcher saga was announced this week by CD Projekt Red. And now this is interesting, dude. Here's their quote from their site. This is an exciting moment as we're moving from Red Engine to Unreal Engine 5, beginning a multi-year strategic partnership with Epic Games. It covers not only licensing, but technical development of Unreal Engine 5, as well as potential future versions of Unreal Engine where relevant. We'll closely collaborate with Epic Games developers with the primary goal being to help tailor the engine for open world experiences. It's also worth noting that Cyberpunk 2077, which runs on Red Engine, will continue to use it, especially for its DLC going forward. So
DLC,
oh yeah, we're getting expansions, baby. Hey, you'll fucking play it. Don't act like you.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know. Why did I miss that?
No, they've always said they pushed it all back.
Well, I was gonna say probably forgot about it because 2 years later
they announced it at launch. Like, we're gonna have DLC, but then they had to put everything on the back for it because the game was a fucking disaster.
Yeah, no shit.
But it's interesting, Tone. Now, first of all, Tone, there's some stuff about this medallion here that people are talking about. Like, this is a different type of medallion.
Yeah, actually, when I first looked at that, I thought that looked like the head of Anubis.
Oh.
Like a hyena.
Yeah. But what's the significance of? Yeah, it's a lynx.
It's a lynx,
which is a different school, I believe.
Right. Typically, that would be a white wolf that you would see because you would figure you're playing as, or a wolf because you figure you're playing as Geralt.
Right.
Not.
What's the significance of a lynx, though? I mean, what is this just gonna be something completely new, or do you think we're gonna play?
They're. I mean. To break down the schools I don't know if it really pertains also to the armor as well too. That's why I was kind of wondering if maybe this would pertain to Ciri somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some points made by some of the community, like, yeah, but Ciri is like elder blood. She's got extra powers. Like, she's kind of a broke character. Like, is that really something they're gonna have? I mean, they could, and that's what I would want because I really want to continue her story as well too. But like, I don't know. And then some more stuff came out today. Like I said, the community's back and forth, all of it. There's some speculation with this as well too. Like, that's how I feel about it, Brian, as well too. Like, even though as much as I want to have Ciri be the main character, I feel like let's move somewhere in a direction. And I'm gonna guess that this is gonna be definitely a little bit more farther from the books, and the other ones like followed a lot of pieces to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna guess this is gonna live in that world, but kind of move away from that.
Do you think if by moving away from the books, they can still retain the lore? But
yes.
Do you think they go with the whole? I mean, there's a lot of speculation. People are like, you're going to create your own Witcher,
which I think in the right hands, and we saw they kind of try to do that in Cyberpunk. I think that would, because that would fit more in this kind of game, I think. Well, I think Cyberpunk it should have, but I don't want to get. But yeah, I think that would make it more interesting as well too, because now you don't have to put yourself in a path and be, so. What's the word I'm looking for? Constraint, is that the right word?
Yeah.
To like other like material.
Yeah, you're not confined to it. You can kind of branch out a little bit.
Right. This will let you kind of like not only keep that open world feel and all those side quests, but also maybe build some new story or some new lore as well too, or maybe base it loosely off something of the books as well too. So
Brian says, I don't want to create my own character. I feel like the story would be better with a canon protagonist.
And honestly, that's a tough one to debate, because I feel like because I understand that as well too, because I'm not always somebody who likes to always build the characters. Now I say that, but as somebody who also likes creating a character like Dragon Age Inquisition, it'll take me 2.5 hours to build a character, and then I'll finally play the game and have to go to bed for like 5 minutes. So, I mean, I think after 3 of them, though, it might be time to try that out with The Witcher. It might be an okay. I saw what he said. I know. I'm ignoring it. He can play Ghostbusters alone, but no, I figure
he's
that
just a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, he's just a buster. But yeah, I want to. I'm fine either way. Very honestly, at the end of the day, like I don't know what this necessarily pertains to. I'm open to it. Now, here's why I'm going to say a couple of things. One, about just generally CD Projekt Red. Am I apprehensive of my excitement? Absolutely, and that's because of Cyberpunk. Now, I played Cyberpunk even when everybody wasn't through the bugs, and I didn't deal with a lot of shit except for some crashes here and there. I'm an RPGer that will literally save my game every 5 minutes and twice because I'm a fucking psychopath about it. I'm very OCD about saving in my RPGs. I don't like replaying shit, etc. So I'm apprehensive because of Cyberpunk, but I continue to still play it, and still like the experience they wanted to tell, I really did love and enjoy. It's just unfortunate that they released a game before they should have, like 2 years early, and nobody, really got a chance to play it or was pissed because of it, and that's fair, and I don't debate that at all. They deserve all the heat they got for that. They sold us on a turd. But it is Witcher, and when I was playing Cyberpunk, because the FPS games in that nature, I don't always feel. I know everybody says they're supposed to make you feel more immersed. They do not to me. Honestly, that first-person perspective feels me less immersed. I like the third person. I like the look. I wanted more of The Witcher, and Cyberpunk was definitely not The Witcher.
Right.
That's fine. It was Cyberpunk, and I still enjoyed it. So I'm excited because Witcher's coming, right? That said, what's interesting about the Unreal that I feel like, and I know Jared McKenzie might be out there. Jay McKenzie might be somewhere.
He's busy. He's busy doing stuff.
He's busy as always. But yeah, I feel it. And Brian, I get it too. I respect that hustle as well too. Like I said, I still enjoyed Cyberpunk. So, but I think part of this might because of Cyberpunk.
I think you're right.
I think this is a big piece of why they're moving to Unreal. Yeah, exactly. Because as Jay McKenzie said, when the Matrix thing dropped, Unreal Engine is so easy to use that only 1 or 2 people could literally build in that world. And it's not just that they could do that. It's just that, guess what, everybody? Unreal is really fucking awesome.
Right.
It's really fucking good at what it does. So if you've got a game like, Cyberpunk, say, for instance, if you to build that on Unreal instead of your own in-house engine that it's like an Apple product, right? I know people love Apple, and I'm not going to try and troll here, but part of the problem with Apple is that it's all proprietary software and hardware.
It is.
Something gets fucked, you're really fucked. Yeah. That's just the bottom line of it. I think that's kind of what happened here as well, too. They're really ambitious with what they want to do and what envelope they want to push, and they got in over their head, and it fucked them. So guess what? Let's revisit ourselves. We're a great developer. Let's take our throne back or figure it out. Maybe move it to Unreal, build something a little bit easier, but also build something that's way more immersive and easier to build in than what we had going on. So I think it's a good choice for them, and it's a good choice for anybody that moves into that. I know when Unreal 5 dropped, Jay McKenzie shit bricks and was texting me all day about it, so I'm going to guess you can speak to that, Jay McKenzie, if you got time, but would you say that that's probably a big reason why there is that it's smarter, easier to build for them to do something like Witcher?
You know what Brian just said. I think that's what I talked to you about before the show. Is right. I think it speaks volumes about the intuitive nature of Unreal Engine 5, where you have CD Projekt Red abandoning their own in-house engine and BioWare abandoning the EA Frostbite engine from the next Mass Effect game. They too are going with Unreal Engine 5. It speaks volumes where you have these publishers who had these studios who were saying, fuck your in-house engine, pay the licensing fee for these the Unreal 5 because it just makes more sense. It's easier for us to make a much more, I don't want to say bug-free, but a much more fluid experience, end-user experience, where there's not so many issues. Obviously, Frostbite is not built for open-world games.
Frostbite, we know from Dragon Age Inquisition and all the kickback from that and Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
That was not made, like you said, that was not made for RPGs. It was made for
But it
first-person
is
shooters.
interesting for that because I don't remember, me personally, I don't remember hearing Witcher 3 being a technical disaster to the point where you need to take a third-person game, which is different. Cyberpunk, obviously, it's first-person, doesn't work good in the Red Engine, but Witcher 3 wasn't a problem, was it, in the Red Engine?
Well, you got to imagine, though, too, like, graphically and everything that they were doing with the technology, like, that all just swayed. You were talking about, PC was different, but you're still putting things on 360, PS3, or whatever it was. So I just think generally that the power that they were trying to push with Cyberpunk was limited by that Red Engine because they hadn't ever pushed it to that limit.
Right.
You know, I mean, look at and I think the first person perspective definitely does affect the gameplay from a third person, even on a graphical sense of that.
Yeah, and I think Jay McKenzie's making a good point. He says Cyberpunk had more in a small space. And I want to ask Jay McKenzie this really quick because obviously Witcher 3 is a game that was on last-gen consoles, so you don't have that ceiling of GPU and CPU that you have now. Do you think that is because the Red Engine isn't built to handle that much more kind of like horsepower behind it? Witcher would have struggled and the entire world had been crammed into and of itself.
Yeah.
So is it because these systems are so much more advanced than, putting the Witcher 3 on the PS4 and the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One, where you get these more dynamics, these systems that have more moving parts, much more horsepower, and then you come out with the updated Unreal Engine, which is built to kind of like work on these types of specs. Is that what makes it easier for developers to be like, fuck our engine, let's go with this thing that's kind of built optimized for the future of this hardware?
I'm
just curious to get his thoughts on that.
makes
Hopefully
sense.
he's able to answer. I don't want to take up too much of his time. I know he's very busy with Elysium and whatnot, but
he's also a chronic masturbator.
Laugh a lot. Sure, that's part of it. See, yeah, I know. Like I'm speaking in layman terms, and Mackenzie's like, "Shut the fuck up, fat. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'm just spitballing, baby." But I honestly, in the future, I would love to get Jay McKenzie on to really discuss.
We really
this
need to have
because
you.
I would love to get a developer on here who understands this stuff and kind of explain it in layman's terms to a dumbass like myself, so I can have a better understanding of why it's so appealing for these publishers and these studios to abandon their in-house engine to pay. And you mentioned, the licensing fee isn't that big of an issue, but why it would be more beneficial for them to turn down their in-house engine to go the Unreal Engine 5. Is it just that impressive of an engine, easier to work with, and less issues? I'm curious to know more about that.
Look at it like this as well, too. If, he said before, like, you could have 3 or 4 people build maybe a Witcher-sized game with Unreal 5, and you had a team of 100. I hate to say this, but, like, you cut a portion of that team, you just saved how much money by cutting that labor cost as well, too.
Yeah.
And I hate to be that person, but as somebody who's been in that position where you had to look at labor all the time, that's just kind of how that works as well, too.
Valid point.
Time and money, right? So...
I would love to try to get Jay McKenzie on here soon, hopefully sometime in the future. I know, like I said, he's busy with Elysia. Excited to see what that's all about. Now you have that other portion of work and the other stuff for the game. Well, okay. Brian knows what's up.
So, yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, yes, when you see Witcher, it inherently gets people excited. I think they know that Cyberpunk was definitely a fumble for them, and it's probably hard for them to handle that. And
here's what he says.
Yep.
There's a lot of factors, too, really. With Unreal 5, it does just about everything you want out of the box. Building game engines is extremely hard and complex. No, you're fine, dude. No, you're fine. Like I said, man, that's the perspective. That's the shit that I want.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I can sit there and talk about it from a consumer's perspective and how a certain game runs. Like, you play Cyberpunk, and it's like, oh, this is fucking trash. Then you play something on Unreal 5, and like, oh, man, this game is great. That's the most we can compare. We don't understand what's going on behind the scenes from a developer's perspective, saying, man, this game could have been so much better had it not been stuck on this engine had we had something on Unreal 5. Game engines are easy, about to go.
Fucking Brian.
Brian's doing a bit now.
Yeah.
But no, man, Jay McKenzie, anytime you're able to share your expertise, man, we would love to have you on. I know you're busy right now, but man, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'd love to get you on because I want to talk about the Unreal Engine 5. And like, I know there was another tech demo that just came out recently that people are like kind of like floored by. So it'll be really cool to kind of get his thoughts on that as well.
For sure.
We have one more gaming topic that we want to discuss. And Tony, I saved this just for you. The Halo series drops tomorrow on Paramount Plus.
Allegedly.
The first episode drops tomorrow on Paramount Plus.
Allegedly.
And I know that we've all been kind of like skeptical of it. You know, is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? There was a story that they already re-upped for season 2, and everyone's like, oh man, it must be really good.
No one's watched it.
No one's watched it yet. The reviews come out, kind of middling reviews, kind of sitting in that 50 range. Not great.
Oh.
But it doesn't help when your showrunner, who's leaving after the first season, comes out in an interview with Variety and says this: we didn't look at the game. We didn't talk about the game. We talked about the characters in the world, so I never felt limited by it being a game.
Interesting.
Not, in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll have something to say about this as well, not the best choice of words. Because when I think Halo, I don't think about the books. I don't think about whatever the fuck else. I think Halo, the game.
Right.
So I think the game. Oh, Jay McKenzie. Okay, source material. Fuck that. Start fresh. Okay, there's the other perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But Tone, I want to get your thoughts on this comment.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with Jay McKenzie's comment, actually.
Uh-oh.
If it weren't for the source material, this wouldn't exist. Period. You can't alienate your core base that platformed it and brought it to a point to where somebody says, let's make a fucking TV series. You can't do that. Is it a slippery slope to balance? Absolutely. Look at the MCU. They've managed to do it. Comic books, casual fans, you're going to take some, liberties here and there. That's going to happen, especially in a creative medium and when you got to change it to a time frame or whatever it is. But you can't take something that predominantly for 20 years by a massive margin of people that know Halo from a video game and say, we didn't look at the games. That's like me saying, hey, guess what, Blanco? I made you a Hershey bar, a chocolate Hershey bar, but I forgot to actually ask Hershey for the recipe for a chocolate Hershey bar. So it's probably just some cat shit. It's the same fucking thing. Like there's substance there. There's a reason why these games are what they are. Like, listen, the books are awesome if you get into them. They're supposed to be. I know 2 or 3 people personally that love the books. I don't have time to read like that anymore. Unfortunately, I wish I did. But listen, like just having characters and lore, that's easy. You can look at bullet points in Wikipedia and all of a sudden become a Halo expert. I don't mean you know Halo.
Right. I
don't mean shit. And now you're building a series of it. That's all I'm saying.
And see, you mentioned that.
Okay. Sorry,
and like here's some of the other points from this article, which is why I'm not in full. I'm not in full panic mode just yet. I mean, this was a really badly worded like.
Yeah, let
quote.
your PR team talk, bro.
This wasn't a good look, and this is not. And Variety knew that, and that's why they posted this. But there are some other points that are mentioned in here that kind of give me a little bit of like comfort in knowing that. Mm-hmm. First of all, many of the show's lead creative like people spent several days at 343 headquarters to learn about Halo. So sure, the showrunner mentions that we didn't look at the game, but there are several creative leads who did go to 343 to discuss Halo to kind of get an understanding of everything. The other point that's interesting is they said many of the everyone who spoke with Variety cited Halo's expansive mythology, as the factor that differentiated the series from other video games, made it more attractive as source material. So what they're saying is like, look, there is more stuff established here where we can kind of deviate from what the fans know. Okay, they're saying there's enough stuff established here in the books and even in the games. Maybe some of the whatever you can find collectibles. I don't know if they have like little. There's enough stuff there for them to build off. Where they're like, we don't have to just tell Chief's story that everyone's already played.
Then don't call it Halo because listen.
Well, I mean, you have to call it Halo because it's Halo.
Well, I know because
and you got to sell it. You got to.
Yeah, I know. I get why they're doing it, but then don't fucking call it Halo. That's my point. Like, listen, like I don't care if there's creative directors went to this shit.
Sure.
They're not the showrunner. The showrunner is the guy that's still saying yes or no or shooting the camera, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he didn't even talk about the fucking games. Why is he involved then? Is he going to listen to the creative guys? I could have saved them fucking time. They could have came to my house and played Halo. I could have learned them Halo. Go to 343 and talk about the characters. You can Wikipedia the same shit. So if you're not looking at the fucking video game, then what is all that? That's all fluff to me. That all don't fucking matter.
Okay, now hold on. There's more. The Schreiber, who's playing John in the show, he says the richness and depth of the universe was immediately kind of mind-boggling and incredibly exciting because what it means as a storyteller is that there's already a huge amount of preparation and groundwork done. So even the lead of the show is looking at it saying, look, it's almost like everyone else is trying to damage control for how fucking Carol.
It sounds like they're all on the defensive right now because they're going to put out a turd that's going to piss people off.
I mean, look, the critics is one thing. I think the true test is when I'm not like a fucking hard. I played Halo,
right?
Combat Evolved. I played Halo 5, and I played Halo Infinite, and I played maybe 5 chapters of Halo 2. So I don't know the Halo verse like you do, but it's appealing enough to me where it's sci-fi,
right?
And to hear the other people saying, look, there's enough there to kind of like deviate from the story that we already know and do that. But I understand it. But at the same time, like you said, look, dude, you're putting this is Halo.
But my point is they're not deviating from the story. The only way they're deviating from the story is they're literally changing the story. The story's there. If you want to tell the story, just tell it on a grandiose scale and not in video games.
I see what you're saying because it's still Master Chief.
Yeah, there's
Master Chief, but they're doing something different.
He discovered a Halo ring. Well, that's fucking Combat Evolved. Play the fucking 3 fucking hallways you walk through that fucking game or whatever it is you want to do. You could definitely elaborate on that fucking game because we all know, even as a Halo player, that Halo 1's boring as fucking fuck. The end. Just a fact. So if that's what they're doing, they're redoing Combat Evolved, then fucking say that. But then again, they didn't even look at the fucking video game in the first place, so what does it fucking matter? All I'm saying is this sounds like fluffy damage control because we're already hearing that it's getting 5s, it's getting 6s. Oh, so it already sounds good. Glad you got your season 2.
But no, here's the thing. Devil's advocate. Now, obviously, these are the critical reviews.
Very triggered.
These are critical reviews. And obviously, critics don't fucking understand
They
video games.
They don't get video. Yeah, they don't get video games.
That doesn't, obviously some of the sites that have reviewed the show are gaming sites, so they are familiar with Halo. But at the same time, these are critics, and, they're different than the fans of the games. That's why I feel like it's going to be really interesting once the show drops tomorrow, and I really hope, and I know you'll watch it. You'll end up watching it because I feel like it's going to be a good conversation going forward from somebody who loves Halo and appreciates all the lore of Halo, and myself who is still I'm very vanilla when it comes to Halo. I just understand Chief's this guy, and he's badass, whatever. I think it's going to be an interesting look going forward, and especially right now because Halo Infinite has basically just plummeted in all aspects. Like, nobody's playing. I mean, people are playing it, but it's not generating that fucking buzz you would expect from a game that's a 10-year project.
Right. It's like a. That's a whole other topic.
I feel like right now it's going to be a really tough time for this show. Because Halo Infinite, by all accounts, has dropped off the fucking map.
They had a chance to take a big crown, and they dropped it.
They had every chance to take a big crown.
Yeah.
And now you have this show coming out where the showrunner's like, we don't give a fuck about the game. We're doing what we want.
Right.
This has the potential to be a total disaster.
Yeah.
And if the fucking Halo fans hate it, I can tell you right now, no one's going to give a fuck about Season 2. They're going to go back and look at that deal and be like, by the way, no.
Right. So, El Blanco says they're doing what Disney did with the Star Wars films. You got to say it kind of shadows that, doesn't it?
It sounds a lot like
sounds familiar.
Like Boba Fett.
Sounds familiar. Josie says, my kid plays League and got me watching Arcane. Not sure how accurate it is to the game, but I was entertained. So there's the difference there, though. Arcane is basically building backstory that wasn't really filled fully, and they're able to evolve that or flesh that out, right? So that's a little bit different. Halo is trying to literally be Halo in TV series form and changing the formula that was already there, so it's almost not that. I would say more probably in line with something like that hot piece of shit called Walking Dead, because, as we know, Robert Kirkman got an extra 0 on his check and said, oh, it's based off these books that people really loved and it was really good and had really good integrity and good character writing, but we're going to do this show instead so everybody can get their panties wet over 3-way love triangles. That's what this feels like more to me. This is more about having a name, and it's getting a fucking cream-filled donut, and somebody already sucked the cream out.
That was me.
And now, exactly. And now you're all getting is the fucking shell of a donut. So, I know it comes out tomorrow. My schedule. Oh, I'm busy tomorrow. Sorry. Probably won't be able to watch it. Don't really care.
I'm watching it tomorrow.
You do that. I'm going to wait for a couple of weeks to see what people are saying about it.
He's going to watch because we're talking about it next week. He's watching it tomorrow. It's a part of Game Pass. You can get Paramount Plus.
Try to get me to watch Spirits Within, too.
I will make you a shrimp po' boy.
Try to get me. No, that's not going to do it either. Listen, I'm telling you right now.
Son of a bitch.
Listen, at the end of the day, and I'm going to digress for this for a hot minute, and I'm going to say this last thing. I know I love you, Zach Dynamite. I know you call me the king of haters, and I called you the king of complacency, because that's just how I feel sometimes with this stuff. You have to fight and preserve the things that you like when they start deviating from what became what you recognize and it's no longer recognizable. There needs to be a line and there needs to be a standard. You don't have to agree with that. That's perfectly fine. But I believe in the word called integrity, and I believe that there needs to be a standard at some point. This sounds like, again, people are playing the defensive card because they're on their heels and they're about to release something and it's going to flop. And if it does, I called it. If it doesn't, awesome. I'm probably in like a month or so going to have to kiss everybody's ass and say, you know what, I was wrong and I'm enjoying this. But I'm not in anywhere, shape, or form watching this tomorrow or probably even next week. I'm going to wait a minute.
We'll talk about it next week. We'll be talking about it.
You can talk about it.
Man! Come on, y'all. You have to help me tell you. We'll leave it to Discord.
Sorry. That's just how I feel about this sort of stuff, man. Like, there is a slippery slope and a fine line when it comes to sourcing material based off other mediums and when you evolve it. You can take those liberties. There's people that have a different scope of it when it comes from an art form or, shrinking it. I understand that sort of thing. But when you are literally taking things and turning it into not a recognizable product except for name only, I can't get on board with that shit. That's really difficult for me. And that's a tough pill for me to swallow, and I don't usually choke them down. So ask Walking Dead after, season 2, episode 2 or 3. I was done with that shit.
Man, I didn't mean to trigger him, but there he is. See what happens next week. I'm going to do my best to work this guy over and get him to watch one episode.
Nope.
I will find a way, people.
He said, what did he say up there? We didn't talk about the game.
We didn't look at the game.
And I said,
you're not gonna look at
I'm not going to look at your show then, huh?
Well, hey. Oh, wow. Give him a reach around. Hey, I mean, J-Hell, like I said, nothing's off the table.
If it was a Halo reach around, I'd be okay with it. Because that was one of the last good Halos. One of the last 2.
All right.
Anyways, I digress. We're done.
We have one more topic to discuss, but guess what? Tone's got to go pee again.
No,
we'll
I don't.
be right
you do.
back.
Fuck off, you.
And welcome back. And that's going to do it, dude. That's
Yeah,
going to do it for tonight's show. We've had a lot of great stuff to talk about.
I'm just worn out from that Halo talk. I'm sorry,
I know,
everybody.
man. I know. You were... JK, hold on, Brian. We're getting to
it. Trolling.
All right, so Brian has been begging for us to talk about All of Us Are Dead.
For at least 6 months or something. I don't know. I can't count.
Push him to the edge, baby. All of Us Are Dead. Available now on Netflix. And dude, I'm gonna start off on this because I know you're a little bit further along.
Yeah.
But right now I am 5 episodes in. First of all, I love the unique Eastern storytelling that they have presented here. The way this show, basically what it is it's this city in Korea, and it's a virus breaks out, a pandemic breaks out, and people start turning into zombies. And it takes place that focuses on these kids in this school that are kind of trapped there while this pandemic is playing out. The way this show blends that Eastern horror that we've seen in movies like The Ring. And, they do things differently with Eastern horror. They do things, it's not about the jump scares.
Right.
It's about the creepy, unsettling imagery.
Mm-hmm.
The actions of the infected. Like, when you look at The Ring, when the girl crawls out of the well, she's just got that creepy motion, the body's cracking, the eyes it's all about the eyes, and that's on full display here. Like, this very unsettling, very creepy imagery that kind of sticks with you. And that's why I'm really digging this, because there is literally nothing creepy than the human body moving in ways that it shouldn't. And you hear bones cracking and the dead eyes with the blood behind them. And it's very, very, very creepy. So they really nail that one. But the other thing is it's also got a lot of good drama. There are some really surprisingly emotional arcs that play out here. There are some really deep-hitting scenes where you're just like, oh, shit, man, that is really fucking sad.
Things that will also come full circle and back around.
Okay,
I like that.
That's good to hear. There are certain things that are just very heartbreaking. Like, they really know how to, like, when they're like, okay, look, time for an emotional payoff, you got it. But the other thing is, man, you've got this horror that gets gory at times.
Oh,
like
it's so gory.
It's creepy and unsettling, but it's gory as fuck in the scenes that call for it. But then, dude, it also reminds me of like a JRPG.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain moments where it is a serious moment or a scary moment where they try to inject this goofy levity with even that chip music playing in the background that just kind of like just feels out of place. But it's like it fit. It's out of place, but it makes sense considering the style that they're shooting this. And I'm just like, man, this show balances that. Because, I mean, in Western-style zombie movies, and while I love 28 Days and 28 Days Later, these are fucking awesome zombie movies, it is nonstop tension and horror. Whereas this, different approach. It's a different approach. And I dig that. There are some really genuinely intense scenes in this show. Especially the chases when the kids are getting chased around. Some of them, I'm like the way they're choreographed, the way
cinematography,
they're shot, the way it's shot,
Jesus Christ,
is so good. You're just like, man, this is like, it's funny because like just a moment ago you're having like this weird funny moment, and then things just get super intense, and then they get scary, and then they get sad. You're just like, fuck, my emotions are all over the place in this show. If there's one issue I have with it, 5 episodes in, is that the episodes are way too long. Only because, but at the same time, I understand why they're long, because it's how you get to those emotional payoffs. It's how you get to that drama, so it's effective. But I feel like there are just certain points where I'm just like, the previous scene was so good. Or the previous thing that happened was so effective that it's just like, fuck, I need more of that. But then you kind of get to these little bit of lulls in between where you're just like, okay, this probably could have been like 45 minutes. But I mean, shit, like episode 5, I think was like 71 minutes. And I'm just like, oh man, these are really long episodes. So it does at times feel like it overstays its welcome a little bit. But I understand why they have to drag out certain scenes because there is a payoff at somewhere down the line.
Yes.
So far that I've seen. And I know
Yeah.
you said full circle, but I'm going to let you take over because I know you've seen the whole series. You're not going to spoil anything, but there's a little bit more you can probably chime in.
I just felt like overall, you mentioned JRPG. A lot of the things you said I clearly agree with. I love Eastern storytelling. I'm a big anime fan, and I think that speaks to Ant House and both Brian were both two of the people that were always like, gotta watch this. It just so happened that Brian was cyberbullying us about it, but it feels like a live action anime.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And I love the character like archetypes. I love everything about that. He made a point about, you notice in Asian countries there's not a lot of guns. Guns aren't big over there. And you'd almost expect points that somebody just busts out a gun or find a gun or whatever. You don't. So you use whatever else you got around you. And that's just it. Like, you got guys that are brawn. You got girls that are brains. You got, other people that are the mix of them. They got a martial arts guy or a fighting guy.
Yeah.
You got a bow and arrow guy. It's
The
just
archers.
There's a lot. It is, and that's why it's so good. And the strange. It's very exactly, Josie. And that's what makes the anime so good for somebody like myself is that you'll have all this serious stuff going on, and then these just like split seconds of levity. And all of a sudden, it's back to wherever it is. And like in Western storytelling, that shit doesn't work. It
doesn't
out.
work. It gets panned.
And I think the only things that's been working out recently. And I hate to bring this up, but it's just true. And it's kind of the Marvel films. They're one of the few that sometimes just like throwing a joke or two here. They're just kind of like pass by and like, it was kind of funny, and then you're back to the serious stuff. But overall, that's just not something we see typically over here. There, on the other side of it, it's a whole different story. And man, I agree that sometimes there is a little bit of length to some of these episodes. I would even say the season overall, 12 episodes, I think it is kind of long. But it does go through a whole story, and it goes, while there's some length sometimes, you may, okay, this is dragging on a little bit. It always turns back around or comes back full circle. There's even a character I feel like that's kind of played out a little bit, but you got to have those kind of characters. I get it. If our biggest complaint so far, 5 episodes in and finished it, is that it's a little bit too long-winded at times. If that's our really only critique,
it's kind of a compliment.
That speaks for fucking self. In my opinion.
It is kind of a compliment.
And again, the cinematography, like in the first couple episodes, I'm like, I even looked over at her. That shot, that way they shot that's fucking smart. Like, you wouldn't see that normally. Like, I just feel like it's outside of the box storytelling like normal.
Yeah.
And also the way they shot the film. But inject it into my veins, right? Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, that's it. I feel like this series ended on like kind of how Squid Games was. Like, you could do another season, but do you need to?
Right.
So I don't know if they've announced another season of this. I would fucking hell yeah, I'd watch another season of this. They wouldn't need to necessarily, and I think it would almost like kind of like Squid Games. Like, it might lose some of that shine if you add more to it. But at the end of the day, like, as somebody who's been playing Trails of Cold Steel or played Final Fantasy, the Type 0 or any of those ones where you got like massive casts of characters that do different things and weapons or whatever like that. That's what this felt like, and I just felt like I was right at home. Like, there were times I'm like, I feel like I know this. Like, I know where this is going. So I thank you guys for making us watching this. When you actually do watch the trailer, if you guys haven't seen it on Netflix and you've seen the trailer, curious about it, just know it's a long jump into. I might suggest not binging it like I did. I pretty much binged 12 episodes in like
that's why I feel like
short...
maybe that's probably why I was so kind of wore out after a couple days.
Spread it out a little bit.
Because I seriously powered through like 4 episodes yesterday and another one today. I was like, okay, maybe that's why I should be watching these like every other day. But honestly, I wanted to watch it throughout the course of the weekend. But all hell broke loose.
So I really see it's based off a webcomic, so I believe there's more material. I hope so, because I would be cool with that as well too. But I can't speak highly enough of this. I was and I'm a person who feel like because of my disdain with the way The Walking Dead ended up playing out and just zombies in general. After 2008, zombies literally just became saturated in everything, and it makes sense because the zombie thought process fits literally into everything. I think we talked about that during the What If episode. So it's hard for me to get excited about zombie stuff. This is the first time in a very long time that I was excited about zombie material.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
really, really, really enjoyed
compelling.
this.
It's compelling. There's some really good story arcs, and it's it reminds me a little bit of Cobra Kai with some of the drama that's going on throughout the classes.
You just kind of have to accept
it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But it's compelling stuff. Like, the performances are good. The story arcs are good. The weaving plots and the character connections and whatnot and what have you. So it's really good. Brian says, I appreciate the Koreans who are willing to murder children on TV so mercilessly. Yeah, you really could. It's really difficult. It would be really difficult for somebody in the West to shoot a flick where people are getting off in school. Kids are getting off in school. It's just a hard sell. But I think that's because it has that anime vibe, it's a little bit easier to kind of push that because it's a little kind of like you said, I don't want to say unbelievable, but it's just a little bit more goofy. In certain ways, it's kind of goofy.
There's some.
If you were to try to shoot 28 days later, where a bunch of kids are getting killed, that wouldn't go over well.
Right, but like just like an anime in some way, there's some like of course this is fantasy anyways, but there are some things that they do and think about and way they handle situations have a very like a little more fantasy involved in that.
Sure,
but it fits. It works because that's how those stories are typically told. So I can't, like I said, I can't speak highly enough about it. Thank you guys for making us watch it. Even the cyberbullying, Brian, but I do feel like if you're a fan of zombies in any capacity, or even anime, or just like zombies.
Oh, wait a minute. Is it really?
What?
The bitchy rich girl is the same actress from Squid Game that purposely lost the marbles. It is! The girl that throws the marbles away loses that game, so she gets killed. That's the same girl.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
All right. Now that Brian mentions that, yes, it is.
Okay.
That's crazy, but it makes sense. Yeah, and like you mentioned, the Korean films, man, the Korean shows out lately have been... They're on point, dude.
I mean, they've always been pretty good. It's just that not everybody's been on that train. Volcano High, what up?
Yeah, it's a decent show, and I can't wait to power through the rest of it and see how it closes out. But I've really enjoyed it. Like I said, with the exception of the length of some of the episodes, I'm digging it, dude. I dig the vibe. I dig the presentation. I dig the way the story's playing out. So I will watch the rest of it, and we'll spend just a moment next week talking about just the finale a little bit, and whether or not maybe there is a conversation to be had whether or not it deserves a second season.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I'm a firm believer of if things if things are good the first time around, there's no real reason to pile on more. Why ruin a good thing? But hey, you know what talks? Money talks. If they're making a lot of money, they'll find a way to get a fucking sequel in their second season. So,
or even just put a name on it like Halo and create a half-baked story.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that next week with you, man. That's gonna be a solid conversation.
No.
So Tone, next week we will have Halo. We'll have Moon Knight, which comes out on Wednesday.
Fuck, that's right.
So Moon Knight we will discuss.
Dope.
In terms of games, I'm gonna play some Ghostwire Tokyo this weekend.
Yes, you are.
So I'm gonna try to talk about that a little bit next week. Is there anything in that you're interested in, or is there any movies? Is there any movies that we need to go see?
Does anything even come out this weekend?
I don't even fucking know. We'll have to check that out. Let's see what we're going to talk about next week. But we'll have stuff to talk about. GDC is still going on, so I'm sure there'll be some more. Heard the first episode of Moon Knight is really good. That's awesome, dude. Josie Wells says Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's a anime, I think, on HBO.
Tricky is playing Ghostwire as well, so hopefully we'll get some Tricky thoughts in here. Beat the Mugen Train opening. Mugen Train opening.
Anime.
No, man,
yeah, dude's hard to sell on anime though.
He loves his anime, and I dig it. But we'll see what other movies come out. I feel like there's something coming out this week. I feel like between now and the unbearable weight,
we got to catch up on next week. We'll probably catch up on Winning Time in Bel Air.
Yes, Winning Time in Bel Air for
since
sure.
We cut them this week because of all the other content we had. So we'll catch up on those next week as well too. And if you're not watching either of those, you really need to watch it. I'm still a firm believer that Bel Air is amazing. I don't care who. Nobody's gonna change my mind. But Winning Time is 3 episodes in, and I'm way into that.
Like, we'll definitely be touching on those next week.
Can't get enough of that. But so we'll have Moon Knight. So we'll have 3 TV series next week to talk about.
Some gaming stuff to talk about, a little bit here and there. So Jay Hill start Winning Time tonight. Go ahead, Jay Hill.
Oh man, so good.
Can't wait for Tony to talk about Tiny Tina and Halo next week. It's gonna be lit.
That's during Tinkle time, so you have at it.
Oh, we'll see, y'all. I'm pretty sure we'll be talking Halo.
You will not be.
You
will be.
Just a reminder, all of you, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you do like the show, if you're not a fan, or if you have some criticisms, you're not quite ready to give us a thumbs up, I totally get it. Let us know what we can do. But if you do enjoy the show, I can't stress enough how important and how useful and appreciated it is if you hit that thumbs up button. If you dig the show, if you dig the episode, make sure you hit a thumbs up. If there's stuff you want to chime in on, damn it, chime in, because I'm going to read it, and if it bring up a good point and a point of discussion, we will talk about it on the next week's show. So if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're just following us on YouTube, and you're bored sitting around picking your butt, taking a shit, or whatever, just go over there and hit that little thumbs up.
Or if you're in the Twitch chat right now and haven't yet followed us on YouTube, we're almost to 400. We're almost to 400. Is it 400?
No, 500.
500, yes.
We're at 486 followers on YouTube.
Get a chance, head over to YouTube, search Banter and Babble, give us a little subscribe.
We're almost
there.
to 500 on here, I believe.
Click that bell as well, too.
We're at 350 on Twitch.
Yes,
so we appreciate the support here. Thumbs up over on YouTube and a follow over there. Anytime, and if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, hit that 5 stars. If you're not ready to hit a 5-star, that's totally cool. No fake 5 stars. Let us know. Send us a DM, whatever. Let us know what we can do to earn that 5 stars. But if you do love the show and you want to give us 5 stars, 5 stars on iTunes, 5 stars on Spotify. That shit allows us to kind of expand and get a little bit more exposure on these platforms. It's a tough industry to get into, and we are going to continue to grind hard to make a show that you never want to miss, that you want to watch every week, that you want to be a part of. And what can you do that? All we ask is just like button, baby.
As Norm once said in Cheers, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear. So, but yes, please get out there, share us to people you know that might like our stuff, whatever, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. Like we keep telling everybody every week, we appreciate everything you do for us. The big thing for us this year is just to expand. Think of the game Risk. We're trying to take over. So, make sure you expose us. Expose yourself.
Expose us. We'll
expose us. Something like that. Yeah.
Expose us. Exposing ourselves.
Yeah, something in there. If you get a chance, yes. Please, if you see us on socials or Facebooks, wherever it might be, give us those shares and tell us some friends or tell a friend, even one person, about us as well too. And then lastly, as always, if you get a chance and you want to continue to watch us grow or be able to put new equipment back on, or if you just want to buy us some beer for one of these shows, check out in our information down here. We've got the Patreon link and now a tip link as well, too.
We have a tip link, a dono link.
If you want to buy just me one Coors Light Deuce, that's fine, too.
Or if you want to buy a T-shirt or a fucking mug, all that stuff is available. But again, you just being here is all we really need. But if you want to support us in other ways, totally fucking can. And we'll love you for it.
Buy me beer.
Buy this guy a fucking beer so I don't have to. For Fanboytone, I'm TheDude79. We'll be back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Have a great weekend. Can't wait to talk about Halo next week.
Nope.
Good night, everybody.
Love you all. Bye. Welcome, everybody. Zach Dynamite, a.k.a. the King of Complacently. You can watch Halo by yourself and talk about it with the dude. Good night.